Welcome, guys. Welcome. I'm here with my arch nemesis, Battlemode. Welcome, Battlemode.
It is I, the ghost of the ghost of antiquated games design.
Now, this. So actually, I've just got a few questions here. Chris is saying, "Is this on Twitch as well?" Yes, it is. It should be. I hope. So it's on Twitch and on YouTube. So we're sort of streaming into both.
On Twitch as well. God, that's a newfangled technology for you, DasTactic. How do you do, fellow kids?
Now, we're not going to get personal, Ben, okay? We're going to...
Why not?
We're going to keep this as civilized as we possibly can.
Well, from the guy who started his stream saying DasTactic owns Battlemode.
Hang on. That's clickbait. That's legitimate. That's legit marketing.
It's legit marketing. But I think that when you hear my arguments, particularly for Age of Wonders 4, you're going to roll over like a dog who's just been offered an S-tier belly rub.
Well, that's what this is all about. This is. I was watching Ben's tier list, and we're going to be going through not his video, but his actual list. Now, it's saying Ben's echoing. I may have to put headphones on. Just bear with me, guys. I'll see if I can find them. And this, this has been so rushed putting this together. Literally, I'm surprised we actually even made it for close to the time that we were scheduled to start. Sorry, it's probably coming through mine. I'll just see if I can actually change it because I'm not hearing the echo. So I'm guessing it's from my side.
By the way, Daz put a lot of effort into this background that he's made here. He was at a good hour, I reckon. So you'll see in a minute when he starts.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben. There we go. Yeah. Well, sort of. I think we just go through. Actually, now, is the echo still there from Ben's side? Let's just get all the technical stuff out of the way. Can you guys still hear an echo from Ben? From Battlemode? Because, hang on. That's not doing it. Just now it's changed again to something else. Sorry, this is no sound from Ben now that I've put my headphones in. Hang on. God, this is just a nightmare. Properties. Where does this one go? Hang on a second. Tech Digital. Headphones. Let's try that. Okay. Can you just talk again, please, Ben?
Hello, my name is Ben. I'm also called Battlemode, and hopefully my voice is not echoing now for you guys at home. How's that sound?
It sounds fine to me. Can you just do it again?
Test 1 2 3. This is Ben doing a sound test. This is something we should have done before we started the stream, but we are really, really late today, so thank you for bearing with us, folks.
Yeah, okay. Remove the echo grid. Okay, I can still see it in the global mic stuff. But anyway, that's good. All right, let's get into it. So this week, Battlemode has put up a hi guys. I just see there's a lot of people saying hi now, sort of coming in for this one through here. If you do want to grab my attention, by the way, guys, just do an @DasTactic. I think, Ben, are you looking at the chat as well on YouTube? And I don't know.
I'll look at the chat on YouTube, yeah. I'll do that unless I start getting big problems with my internet connection, but it should be fine. Okay. I'll just drop the quality of the stream down, so I'm going to be watching us, Daz, rather than YouTube, I think.
Yep. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just sort of we'll meander our way through this list. But Ben has put together a actually excellent list of 4X games, and so I think we have to keep that in mind as well. It's not a definitive list of strategy games. It is a very good list. I'll give you that, Ben. A very good list of 4X games. And also, I think even the premise of the way that you put it together, I thought was actually really, really clever. There are a few. I do have a lot of misgivings, actually, not just a few. One of the things is that there's a lot of classic games in this that you would never play again. Certainly, I would never play it. And so I've sort of tried to figure out: is a masterpiece a masterpiece because of the era that it's from and how it performed in that era? Because I would never play Master of Orion again, ever. I never ever would. So I guess
that quick does.
Yep.
So, no, I don't judge games based on whether they were good at the time. I judge whether they're good right now to play right now. But where I differ, I think, from a lot of people is that I started gaming in 1985 at the age of 6 years old. And so,
hang on, we don't want your life story, Ben. We want to talk about the forum. Go ahead.
In those days, user interface wasn't even really a thing outside of like print, outside of printers and stuff. Okay, so I just don't like user interface and stuff looking old just isn't a problem for me. What I have got a big problem is if things look bad. Yeah, so I find that like most 3D games look kind of crap compared to 2D games in general. So I think sometimes people are a little bit blindsided by this because they're just like, oh, you're just stuck in the past. You're one of those old guys. It's just entirely nostalgia. No, it's not nostalgia. I analyze games design. And so if a game's design holds up today, I don't really care if it looks old, but as long as it's, decently presented, basically. And so I think that confuses a few people because I'm not like you, Daz. I won't refuse to play something because it's old.
Yeah, okay, because I do. I find that old games are not as good as they were back in the day. So I will go through the list now. Let's just go through what you've actually done through here. So what I've done is I've gone through your list and actually made this graphical list essentially. So we've got different things. I think we can agree on I'm not playing that. You've got Civ 6 and Civ 7. I'm 100% agreement with you on that. So actually, what I'll do is I'll just turn off the different tiers and we'll just go through and maybe we can just focus on some of the tiers themselves. So at the very, very bottom, we actually do have just basically I'm not playing that. I'm 100% in agreement with you. There are a few other games that you've got in there that I would also probably put in that category. Some of the games that I have played, I sort of wish that I hadn't played, to be honest, as well. But but let's start from the top. And also what I've done is I've also gone through and put an emoji list on top of things as well. So of my thoughts, just so that they're really succinct. So we'll start with tier number 1, which is the masterpiece level. And so what I'll do is I'll put this is Ben's list, and I'll put my grouping over the top. I'll just go and turn off all of those and turn that on. That should have come up. Oh, hang on. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So we can then just go through very, very quickly, I think. Dominion 6 absolutely should be there. So no disagreement there at all. In fact, just letting you guys know, Battle Mode, Lucid Tactics and myself are looking to play in the coming weeks a quick multiplayer sort of live stream session, I guess, of Dominion 6, which should be a lot of fun. We're just still putting together the bits and pieces, so look out for that. We are arguing at the moment, and we haven't really sort of got into it yet, about whether we play the Warhammer mod, which I really, really want to be playing, and Battlemode's saying no. He's more of a purist.
I like Somber, and I think out of all the overhaul mods, it's the most ambitious and interesting one. It just doesn't connect up with the spells and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big mod fan for Winter stuff. I'm famous for that though, so I don't really like playing mods in Winter stuff. I'll play some of the multiplayer mods if people absolutely insist, but generally speaking, no. I think their games are perfect. They do not need modding, and that's the same with Conquest of Elysium. And I'll fight people on it as well.
Well, you're going to be fighting in the next thing. Anyway, I do agree with you. Dominion 6. I've put like little emojis, like the star-eyed emojis. I love this game. It's one of my top 5 games really. I think it is an actual masterpiece, and it has been for a long period of time. And the criteria that you had for masterpiece, that it had to have some sort of longevity about it. I know that you actually did sort of bend the rules there a little bit, but that was fine. I thought that, that's legitimate. So for me, that's currently a fantastic game. If you don't have it in your library, you should have it in your library. It is a masterpiece.
It's one of the best games ever made, isn't it, Daz? It's one of the best games ever made, without a doubt.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's no doubt.
Single player and multiplayer, yeah. So we're in agreement there, Ben. We're off to a good start. What's that? We've got the 2 that I'm not playing that. I agree with you 100%. And Dominion 6, I agree with you 100% as well. Now we get to the first of the ones that I disagree with. Conquest of Elysium 5, I do not think is a masterpiece. I think it's for me, it's a bit more of a frustrating type game to play. It's I don't know, it's a bit more random, I guess, but it's designed that way. So it does what it's designed to do. I couldn't call that a masterpiece. I've put it down
specifically. Would you say that bugs you about Conquest of Elysium?
I would put Conquest of Elysium 5 either as A or B tier, to be honest. And I just don't think it's engaging. It doesn't really grab you. It's fun to play, so it's still a good game, but it's not a great game, in my opinion.
Okay. Now I completely disagree because it's my most played. It's one of my most played games, and so I find it endlessly entertaining, and it's such a versatile game in the way that you can play it if you understand it. So you can play it like an adventure game. You can play it as like a hardcore strategic optimization puzzle game if you really ramp the difficulty up. You can play it kind of like as a chill, cozy game and just explore some of the stuff that comes up. You know, it's a very versatile game, and I think that it's underrated in terms of the quality of its games design, because I think the design is super, super tight. But you're quite right. It is very, very based on randomization because it's heavily based on classic roguelikes, and that is a feature of classic roguelike games.
It is, but that's boring. That's it's the way it's been put together. It is. You got to admit it's a bit boring.
No, I don't admit that.
Now, hang on. We got some comments and questions on Twitch. I'll just quickly go through these if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So we've got Quetha Scholar saying, I feel like Battlemode's made a 4X list a couple of months back. Was this a new one? Yes, it is a new one. This one came out this week. So have a look at it. I will actually put links to we ran out of time, so I didn't actually go through and set all the links up, but they will be there. So if you're watching this historically, there should be links to Battlemode's channel and also to his 4X tier list. And this is him defending that list. So this is actually, we're going to be discussing. Actually, I won't say defending. We're discussing.
We're chatting about it. And just quickly, I like talking about this stuff with people because if it wasn't for people like Daz and Lucid Tactics, for example, with Eodor Genesis, with some of my other friends about games like Space Empires, I would have had some of these games stuck down in D tier out of ignorance. And it's people pushing back and saying, no, Ben, you're so stupid. You need to play this game, and kind of like give it a chance. And that is often what elevates these games higher for me.
I think so.
It enables me to sharpen my ability to, as a critic as well. And I find that's really important. So don't be shy. Come and engage. But the only thing I don't like is when people just turn up and they go, ha ha ha, you're an idiot, you don't know anything, and then they don't engage with the arguments. That really bugs me because it's just like, I get that a lot about Age of Wonders 4, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so I just can't put Conquest of Elysium in a masterpiece. Actually, there's still a few other comments here. Just let me quickly go through. Cornhog, I think, is addressing this to you, is saying the biggest misgiving is you haven't played enough colonisation, and I would agree with that. To be honest, I think that was a very, very good game. In its era, I would put that as S tier, but not now. Now it's sort of like as a never play again type game. But it's still like if there's I know that there's like a colonization, sort of like people have been sort of building like a Java version or something, and I haven't played it. Yeah, that's the one.
Recall at least, and there's a Civilization 4. Mod as well, which is a colonized. It's not a mod. I think it's actually a paid game. I think it was like a paid. It's like a mod of Civ 4, but it's colonization. It plays differently to the original game. I understand. I've not played it, so I can't really comment.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very good.
You can play colonization now.
I'm also mindful we've got a lot of games to discuss here today, so we're going to have to just keep on sort of rattling forward. But okay, we've got a question here, which is since we're discussing placement on the tier list, is there a definition of what S, A, B, C, and D means? Now, Ben, I might get you to explain your definition because your definition was pretty good, I've got to say, in your video, and masterpiece you added in, but this is a standard tier. But if you want to go through how you defined it, because that's sort of, I think it was.
I'll do it quickly so I don't waffle. So masterpiece is any game. It has to be about 5 to 10 years old, generally speaking. Although I have bent the rules a little bit with that, and those are games that are flawless, basically, in my opinion. And well, no, these are games that I've analysed the design of, and I think are incredibly tight games. What I mean by that is that every single mechanic in the game interlocks with the other mechanics, and so the every choice that you make in the game is meaningful to how the game plays out, and that is apparent in every one of these games. I'd say Conquest of Elysium is probably a little bit less tight in that respect. I think there's a bit of my personal bias in here, for putting that. I think if somebody put Conquest of Elysium in S, if someone else put Conquest of Elysium in S or A, I would be absolutely happy. If you put it lower than A, though, I'd be really annoyed because I think you're wrong. But I understand that it's not to everyone's taste.
I think it's a B.
S-tier games. Okay, S-tier games are. And that's fair, but that's a fair point. Okay, so in my system, that's still a good game. So S-tier games are probably interchangeable with Masterpiece for most people. They are games that have very, very few flaws, but they tend to be either tighter games or looser games. More sandbox-like games that just have like loads of fun in them and very few flaws in them. A-tier is a very, very good game, but it might have a number of flaws, or just one really glaring flaw that stops it being S tier. B tier games are good games, so anything in B tier or above, I would say you need to go and play. Okay, and so B tier are just generally good games. They might have a number of flaws or a really stinking flaw that stops it from being really good, or it might be a really loose game, something like Gal Civ 4, for example, where the game's design's kind of all over the place, but it's still fun to play. Right? Then you've got then C tier is what I would call mediocre, and I mean that in the original sense of the word. So mediocre games aren't bad games, they are mid. They are middling, medium, mediocre. And so any game that's in B tier is in C tier is probably really fun for some people, but it might have some problems that stop it from being higher on the list. Big problems usually. And then D tier is kind of everything else that I'm willing to play. So the games that are in D tier are not bad games, by the way. They're not. I don't play bad games. I don't waste my time with bad games. If a game's really bad, I'll stick it in not playing that. Yeah. But D tier are games that I just don't like. Either they're broken, like Eodor Imperium, or they've got awful aesthetics like Solium Infernum Remake, or they're just bad games like Terror Invicta. And there's another thing as well, just to make it a bit more clear. I got this idea from my friend Mark from the Electric Underground, but he talks about a concept called gameplay density, and gameplay density is for every games that have really high fun and meaningful decision making packed in to every minute of gameplay, and the higher the game's gameplay density is, the higher on the list that goes. So for example, Shadow Empire is very high on there because even at the end game, I'm always having fun with something in it. Whereas games like I put Terror Invicta that's got really low gameplay density for me, and it's got this inverse thing where like you have to make all these crazy amount of moves just to get basic stuff done, and I really hate that. I find it infuriating and so boring. So for me, gameplay density really is important, and the higher on the list the game is, the higher the amount of fun that you'll get for per square minute, basically.
Yep.
Can you have a square minute? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, thanks, Ben. There's comments saying that this is a nice technical list, very, very well defined. I think when I was watching your video, when I started watching your video, I thought, wow, he's really actually nailing the definition here. And then very, very early on, you got to Age of Wonders 4, and I almost had a heart attack sitting in my couch, just watching it. Think, what the hell is he thinking? Anyway, we'll get to that. We will get to that. And there's already comments coming. Some people agreeing with you and other people disagreeing with you, and quite ferociously.
Always happens.
Anyway, let's keep it going. And so we get thanks for clarifying, guys. That's good. So anyway, let's go through. We'll keep on going through this masterpiece level. I'll just go and turn off these other levels that we're not discussing just yet. So, Remnants of the Precursors. I've got no idea what that game is. The fact that I haven't heard of it, how can it be a masterpiece?
How have you not heard of Remnants of the Precursors, man? It's the best. It's one of the best 4X games ever made. It's a remake of Master of Orion. So it's basically
well, then just put Master of Orion up there. You've got it there.
Because it's different, and
it's got to go. Sorry, Ben, that can't be a masterpiece if no one's heard of it.
It is. No. It's Master of Orion is a masterpiece, and Ray Fowler's version is the definitive version, in my opinion. It fixes certain exploits and a few little bugs, and he's just really overdone. He's really overhauled the user interface and just everything about the game. The graphics are better, the music's better, just everything about it is just a beautifully made. It's a really tasteful rendition of Master of Orion. He's applied changes only where they're absolutely necessary, and it takes real restraint as a games designer to respect, the the core idea of what a company is trying to do with a game while still improving on it. Because most of us think that we can repaint the Mona Lisa and it is going to be better, right? And you are wrong. You are not a better painter than Da Vinci. And in the same way, most designers they can't get close to how good Master of Orion is. And Simtex, it couldn't ever make a game that good again. I mean, Master of Magic's good, but it's not as good as Master of Orion. And Master of Orion 2 is a very popular game, and it's an A-tier game in my opinion, but it's not quite as good as Master of Orion 1. So it's an achievement to be able to improve on perfection.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't, like, there's people sort of saying, yeah, why Remnants is second Moo. Like, there's a question there about that. Like, I think we'll just move on because I don't know that game. So, I mean, it's I take your point that it's Master of Orion where somebody copied everything and then just made it a little bit better. Yeah, no, that's okay. Now, Shadow Empire. I agree with you. I've put a smiley face on this one, as in, yes, I love the game, of course. Is it a masterpiece? It's for me, it's so close. Like, it's one of my favourite games. But could you call it a masterpiece? I guess you could. I do agree with you there. So I agree with that being in that tier. But I haven't given it the starry-eyed Dom 6. Dom 6 is an absolute. There's no question about it. It is a masterpiece. Then Eodor. I really disagree with you with this. I find
you played it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my voice is breaking.
Did you play it more than like just for an hour or two? Because Eodor is one of those games that has got a very clever and intricate, subtle games design that really unfolds the more you play it, I think.
Yeah, no, I've played a lot of it actually, a hell of a lot of it. More than you, Ben. No, I don't know. No, I don't know. I used to play it a lot, a hell of a lot. I think this is a B tier game.
Rate Age of Wonders? How can you rate Age of Wonders higher than that if you've played it? That's
okay. The biggest problem I have with Eodor is that you basically get stuck in one province for so long. All you're doing is doing these boring. You're just rinsing and repeating these boring little missions in the same province over and over and over, just to try to sort of milk what you need to get before you then start to move on. Then you move to the next province and do the same thing. You're not moving quickly through the map. It's a very, very boring game. But I will give you one thing. Hang on, Ben. Hang on. There's one thing that is actually. Where's the mute button? I can mute you, I think. Oh, so I've just got to take my headphones off, and then that'll mute you. No, the thing I like about Eodor, which I think does extremely well, and is the actual combat. I think the combat is fantastic in the game. Like that is superior level combat. I just think the actual gameplay loop is really, really boring. Now, I like the idea of the game, like where you've got the different shards and you're sort of going across, and that the maps are randomized, etc., and that each province does actually have its own benefit that you then pick up and actually add into what you do. But overall, I can't call it a masterpiece. It's a good game. Okay, even it may be a great game in its era, but I wouldn't call it a great game now.
Okay. I'll talk about it quickly, Daz, so we can get through this, because I think I want to use Eodor as an example when we talk about Age of Wonders, and I think that because it's the gold standard for Fantasy 4X in my opinion, and it exemplifies the difference between the reactive state system games design that was very, very prominent in the sort of mid to late 90s up until about 2005, and the modern inert state system, what I call number one games design. That we get now, which kind of fakes depth and sort of tries to bolt it back on. And so I think you're quite right. The combat system in Eodor Genesis is really, really strong, and the rest of the game underpins the whole game. Fantasy 4X games are mostly optimization puzzle games, and what that means is you are always trying to increase your power curve as quickly as possible so that you can compete with the AI players who are also doing the same thing. It's more so they are based around combat more than historical 4X, or even I'd say space 4X. If we're looking at the sort of like the Master of Orion style model, at least, because the combat really underpins everything, and so you're trying to increase the power of your armies and pick the battles that will allow you to power up quicker. Now, the reason why Eodor Genesis is really good is because it understands this design principle. And so in the start of the game should not be boring, okay? You shouldn't be just chewing your way through low-level goblins if you can beat dragons and ogres early. So, especially because if you ramp the difficulty up in Eodor Genesis, the AI is surprisingly good and it will go for the throat. So if you've got
I agree with
of an AI player,
I agree with you with that, but I still think that the actual pacing of the actual main gameplay loop, I think, is too slow. Hang on, we've got a question here, a comment. I do want to clarify this. We've got Eodor New Horizons is the best version to play Eodor. That's what Ben has put up here. So Ben is Ben is actually when he put that there, it wasn't Eodor Genesis the original. This is New Horizons, which is a modded version and a modern version of Eodor Genesis. So it still looks like Eodor Genesis, but it is actually like you can pick it up for free.
Game.
Yeah,
it's
the same, but
free. So everyone,
it's the same, but it's a bit like with Master of Magic. Like Master of Magic had like a Windows version where there was a modding community that sort of put together a whole lot of different bits and pieces to try to rebalance it.
I think it's less different to the base game than Caster of Magic, though. I think Caster of Magic fundamentally changed the pacing of how Master of Magic played, whereas Eodor Genesis is more like Warlock 2's Renaissance mod. I think it just adds some more stuff and it tightens the game up and fixes some bugs and it makes the AI better, basically. But yeah, I mean...
Yeah, again, I disagree with you on everything you say that comes out of your mouth. I disagrey with, Ben.
That's very
We'll get to Warlock in a minute. Because Warlock is a shit game. It's a shit game without the Renaissance mod.
I don't like it with that Renaissance. Really
so it has to have the Renaissance mod to make it into a great game. Yes. Whereas Eodor Genesis is close to New Horizons. So I don't think that's
I think so.
Good, we can move on. Anyway, I disagree. That should not be a masterpiece. It should be a good game, but not a masterpiece. So that's sort of in my opinion. But your opinion is that it's actually, and that's fine. Master of Orion, I've said okay. I sort of agree. But only from the era it's from. I would never play it again now. If you're talking, is it a masterpiece for today? No, it's not. It's a classic, but it's not a masterpiece. It was a masterpiece, but I wouldn't actually ever play it again. There's too many other good games.
Okay. So, Daz, I want you to name me one Space 4X game that has got a design that's as tight as Master of Orion 1.
Interstellar Space Genesis.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Distant Worlds.
Okay, you could remove... Okay, so here's how you can test this. Can you remove a feature from that game and it still plays as well? Right? If you remove, let's take from Interstellar Space Genesis the telescope system. Yeah. If you remove the telescope system, that game is exactly the same. It doesn't change. It's got so much stuff in there that is just there to pad the game out, just like Master of Orion 2 did. But Master of Orion 1, every single system in that game is crucial to how the game plays. It is dictionary definition tight. Everything in there is interlocked. And that makes compelling gameplay. Every time you play that game, it's so good. And I'm talking about the original. I'm not even talking about Remnants of the Precursors now. If you can get over the old user interface and the DOS presentation, Master of Orion 1 is a masterpiece. It's the undisputed king of Space 4X. Now, does that mean that everybody's going to like it? Because not everyone likes super tight games, right? It doesn't give you a lot of space for... It gives you less headspace for self-expression. Whereas a game like Interstellar Space Genesis, like Age of Wonders 4 and a lot of modern games, it kind of replaces that kind of deep gameplay you get in a tight game system with kind of surface level aesthetic stuff that fakes the depth of these older games, but they don't dare to do the same kind of complex systems. What I will say is that Interstellar Space Genesis is a good game, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But it's not as tight as Master of Orion.
Yeah, look, it's I mean, it's not as tight, but it's a better game nowadays. Like you wouldn't, I would not play Master of Orion, but I would play Interstellar Space Genesis if I wanted to have the Master of Orion experience. So
okay.
But I do agree, it's a classic, but not for the modern time. And same with Alpha Centauri. I agree that's a classic as well. So I'm happy to keep them up there.
I'm still not sure about Alpha Centauri being a masterpiece. I think that I might have been a bit overzealous with that. I think it's an S tier game.
I think though, but people love it, and I'm thinking of like if you were going to recommend it, like if you were, let's just say we were 20 years in the past, and you wanted to say get a masterpiece, you wanted to sort of recommend a game. Now I didn't play much of it myself either, but I would still recommend it simply because it was just it was so tight. It was a very good game,
so well made.
Yes,
I think unlike Master of Orion. There's issues that have come out with Smack over the years that people like to mod out now. So things like the AI plays in a specific way. Not everyone likes that. I think that the user interface, even for me, who is the guy who doesn't care about user interface, like I just don't care about your UI complaints, but even the user interface in Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri is kind of it's old, and like Master of Magic is another one. That one's still like if you make bum moves, like if you make blunder moves in a game, that can be a problem, right? And most people do not tolerate that. I still get problems like that with Master of Magic and a little bit with Alpha Centauri, but I think in terms of making a game that melds a strategic 4X experience with a genuinely enlightening kind of like uplifting on a consciousness level of your understanding of life. Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri is unparalleled.
Yes,
like you can play a Master of Orion, and you might have some lofty thoughts about what it'd be like to run a space empire, but it doesn't make you think about philosophy. Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri is a game that and I'm not a left-wing person, let's just say. I don't like, certain left-wing values. I'm not a particularly right-wing person either. But it sold communism to me, right? Chairman Yang talking about his sort of form of super hyperspace socialism, because the game is so well written, it made me think, wow, there's benefits to this system. It's not just
anyway. Let's keep on moving forward, because I'm looking at the time, and we've got a lot of games to talk about. When we get to agreements, we'll try to just couple of seconds and then we'll move on. So that's that's Ben's S tier list. There are people saying, why isn't Mood 2? Mood 2 is a better game than Mood 1. We'll maybe talk about that when we get there. So we'll just go back out. Hang on, I'll just go and get the next tier. Just Control 1, do that. Not quite.
Well, we've got loads of comments, but I think if we try and go through them all,
we're going to be it's going to be hard. Sorry, Zoom.
Maybe we can go through at the end, Daz, and pick out some comments and
Alt Shift 0. Try that. That should then get us back to sort of where we were. Right. So let's go to the S tier. So we'll now move through this tier. We've got to move through a bit faster, I think. So we'll just put the S tier on. So this has got like a lot of games, and again, I'll just put my, if you guys don't mind, I'll just put my thoughts on top of it as well. So I've just got these where I can then just go back through, and we'll zoom now through into this one as well. So just bear with me, and we'll start here and move our way through. So the first one that we actually have, if I just turn off my comments there, Armageddon Empires. You sort of, when you mentioned this, you mentioned about the AI being brilliant and all that sort of stuff. It's actually not. So for me, this game is a good game of its era. It was.
You played it?
Yes.
I have to ask you. Okay, how much have you played? Because this game.
Yeah, a lot, a hell of a lot.
Really good game AI.
Hang on.
Superb.
Just bear with me 1 second. I'll show you why I like it so much.
Go on.
I've got something to show you, something to share with you.
What you got? It's not another kangaroo burger, is it?
Macromedia Director 7.
Direct. Good.
This
Lord.
is
That's
what.
Why you don't like it?
No, I love it. I love. This is what the game was built in. This is from the 1990s.
Macromedia Director.
I'll just put it back in amongst the cobwebs again.
See, now Daz actually needed that software for work or something. That's how
I did. Yeah, I did.
It was a bizarre choice.
That was the precursor to Flash. So Macromedia Director was the precursor to Flash. So I do disagree with you. I think it was a great game in its time. There has been other remakes of the game that have come out that weren't that great. People didn't really like them, and I can see why. The reason that the game was it was very tightly put together. I agree with you with that, but within Director you can't really. You have to fudge AI, so you have to. You can't rely on actual logic. So I know that you gave it a really glowing, definition in the way it was done. It was just really, really tight in terms of RNG and sort of like the randomization of
design quality.
Yes,
really high.
Design was incredible for a director. For what he built in Director was unbelievable, and so. So I agree that it was a great game in its era. I would never play it again now. Like it's
Yeah.
So I think that this it's bland now. Basically, I think it was just tight at the time when it was actually put together. And so I would put this down as a B or even like a C. If you're going to be playing it in now, I'd put it in as a C mode. So B or C for me at this point in time.
Sorry about that. Ava just pushed some food and drink underneath my green screen, like a prisoner getting his rations under the door. Sorry about that. So yeah, no, I totally disagree. The AI in Armageddon Empires is really, really good. The game knows how to use a lot of the tactics that players would use, because Vic Davis used to read about the tactics players were using, and then he'd program the AI to do it, and so it will do things that is really genuinely scary to deal with, like sneaking in scouts around your base until they've detected where your base is, and then building an economy that can generate the cruise missiles, and then it will destroy your base with cruise missiles if you haven't got air defenses. If you have got air defenses, it will readjust its plan. It will go, that's not going to work because it's got air defenses. So it will then, throw an army at you or something. It knows how to split armies up. So if it's got multiple leaders, it will split armies up to make them less detectable, and then it will converge those armies together in a debate. That's real military tactics. There are no 4X games on this list that do stuff like that. So the game AI is incredibly good. It's super reactive as well. So I think it's one of those where, the more you play it, the more you'll get out of it.
I played a hell of a lot of it, I've got to say, and it was driven. It was very well done, but it wasn't really AI driven. It was more based on numbers. So what you've just described to me is when certain numbers did things, it would then branch off into another logic loop and then process that logic loop. If there was an opportunity because of numbers for it to do something, it would do it. And so
the end result of what it does, though, regardless of
Yes.
the engine that it's using or the AI system, the end result is it plays a believable game. Now, my issue with Armageddon Empires, it stopped it from being a masterpiece, and I think actually with hindsight I'd switch Armageddon Empires and Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri a bit, but I think that the one issue that stops it being a masterpiece is that, a little bit like Conquest of Elysium, sometimes you can get a start that is kind of tricky, right? Now, players who enjoy the game, like me, will just see that as a challenge. But I think new players used to come in and they'd struggle because the AI they'd be still getting their first units out because they've built their deck in a way that, so they've got too many cards, and then by the time they've actually built a functioning army, the AI's turned up and crushed them, right? Or you might get a situation where, let's say the Xenopods and the Machine Empire, they're locked in this big battle. Because they're locked in a big battle, they've not really paid that much attention to you. So you can sneak in and just take one of their cities. And then, the game becomes quite easy. So it does have a little bit of, imbalance based on the way that the game is built. But if you're the sort of person who I would have thought you'd love this game, because it's very much presents a simulation of something going on. And
I did.
Part of that simulation.
I did love it. In its day, I loved it. I've still got it on my hard drive, to be honest. I just haven't.
Okay, what plays better than this now, though? This like this? Because I don't think there's a single game on this list that is anything like this that is better now. The end.
Shadow Empire. Shadow Empire for me.
That's a totally different game, though.
It is totally different, but it's still Shadow Empire. To a degree, I mean, it doesn't scratch the. Oh, actually, what am I trying to think of? There's games like Menace. I think Menace is it's not a 4X, but
I don't like it.
I think Menace is great. but in that sort of sense, you've got the same sort of management of units. I'm just trying to think. There are others, I think. So now people are saying I should let you talk more, Ben.
Oh no, I think you're doing fine, Daz.
Yeah, I think we're about even.
No, Daz has been fine. He will interrupt me when we talk about Age of Wonders 4, so I'm ready for it.
That's what we're building up for. Now and people are putting comments in also about other things that you've sort of done from your actual list as well. But we'll just keep on going through. So anyway, let's go to Solemn Infernum. For me, it's the same category, same developer actually. So this is David someone, I think. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he's.
David.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he's actually... so he made both of these games, Armageddon Empires and Solium Infernum. They're the only two games that I think he made. I don't think he made any other games other than these two.
Oh, he did? Yeah, he did. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's... he made the the Occult Chronicles and a Gunslinger game as well. There's another one too, I forget. There's a bunch of them. Those ones are more like board games, but they're always really well designed. He was a superb games designer, man. Like S-tier games designer, in my opinion.
He was he should have gone much further than what he did. I think in the games industry as such, just because of the way he put these two games together in the era that it was from, and with what he had to work with Macromedia Director, unbelievable what he put together. And Solemn Infernum again. In its era, yes, 100% agree with you. I think it was an incredible game in its era, but not now. So for me, that would be C now. I would think it's
really?
Yeah, it's still tight because of what he did, but it's still. But I'd go B or C, I think, for that one. So for me, I wouldn't call that an S-class game at this stage. But again, I mean, there's because you had the new remake of Solemn Infernum, which we'll get to in a little while. You had that rated, quite low on your list, whereas
well, I just don't see the point in why would you bother with it when the original's better?
So I don't think it is. I think the new one's better.
Well, the only issue that I've got with Solemn Infernum, I would have recently put this about B or A, but I've got this new piece of software someone recommended called Magpie, and Magpie just any old game or application at all, it will just find the perfect resolution for you immediately. So with Magpie, games like Solemn Infernum that you had to mess around with resolutions and stuff to get looking nice, it just does it for you immediately. So that has immediately boosted that game in my my own rankings, because it means that I don't have to spend like 2 or 3 minutes changing desktop resolutions in the game first before I play it. So but I don't understand how anybody could like that awful art that's in the remake. It looks awful. Like, what the hell is Lilith supposed to be? She looks like a woman in she looks like a sheep or something. Like, what is it? Solemn Infernum has got really, really good art. Vic Davis paid a bunch of artists for both of his games to create hundreds and hundreds of pieces of hand-drawn art, and it's all internally coherent and consistent. Now compare that to that rubbish that they put in the remake. It looks like a kids show. You are meant to be a demon in hell trying to take the throne of hell. This is like Aardman Animation's Hell, that absolute rubbish remake. Now I can't comment too much on whether the multiplayer scene prefers the old one or the new one. I've heard both. Some people like the old one, some people prefer the new one. There are changes in the game's design. They did simplify the game to make it easier to understand. That's always a bad idea in my opinion, but it definitely makes more sales, right? So you have to remember that even though I work for a developer, and when I'm at work, I have to think about sales. But when I'm a critic, I'm not bothered about whether a game is popular or whether it sells or not. I'm analysing the quality of the design and whether it's fun or not. And when I look at those two, for me personally, Solemn Infernum, the old one, is a much more fun game. I find it much more immersive.
It's a very good game. I just don't think it's S tier at this stage. So that's
I think partly it also does. You have to understand that one's a multiplayer game. And again, when you talk about Emperor of the Fading Suns coming up, these games they excel in multiplayer. And I think that any game that it's difficult to sell a game that's good in multiplayer to somebody who isn't going to play it multiplayer, right?
Yep.
So if you're not a competitive multiplayer gamer, I think the value of Solemn Infernum and things like Emperor of the Fading Suns and a few others on the list, I think they are lessened. So there you go. Machiavelli is another one.
But let's talk about these next two, because I also think that these are overrated where you've put them. I don't think they're S tier games. I think that they're B. I would put them sort of in around there somewhere. I think that the actual Emperor of the Fading Suns I really like a lot in terms of the actual like what's there, and I also like the direction because it's still in development, which is unbelievable for a game that's so old. But I do find it just I don't know, it's lacking a lot of polish at this stage, and it really does need to. It needs to be modernised, I believe. So Emperor of the Fading Suns, I think no, I think
please don't modernise these games. It would just make them worse.
No, I mean I think it would because for me, Emperor of the Fading Suns is clunky. It just doesn't quite like for me. Like you've actually the way that you went through and actually defined your list. See, I find that there's problems with this game. I haven't played Machiavellia much, and so it was just too old for me to play, to be honest, to be fair. And so, but Emperor of the Fading Suns, I did enjoy. I enjoyed what it did. It did extremely well. I just wish it was more modern, and I wish it was tighter in terms of explaining things to you as well. Like it's actually hard to understand what's going on. It doesn't.
You can't get a tighter game design though than Emperor of the Fading Suns. It's an unbelievably tight design. There's nothing in that game that is really exploitable. Well, it's very hard to. You've got to have like decades of multiplayer people trying to exploit that game to be able to find a problem. For example, I'm going to give you one example of why Emperor of the Fading Suns is a tight games design. Right, in Dominions and other competitive multiplayer games, we have this problem where when you've got many players in a zero-sum game, it becomes an optimal choice to kind of like take out one player at a time. And the better games have got ways to mitigate this. We call it dogpiling, colloquially. But like Emperor of the Fading Suns has many mechanics in there to prevent dogpiling. One of them is, in order to maintain power in the galaxy, there's an odd number of scepters in the game, and so the scepters are what allow you to have the vote, right? And so if you take, you have 5 scepters each. If you team up with the other 4 players, is it 4 players? Yeah, if you team up with the other 4 players in order to take the enemy scepters, there's always an odd one out. So one player always gets one more, so they have more power. This is really clever games design. And I asked Andrew Greenberg, was that deliberate? And he's like, of course it was. He goes, because we knew from playing games like Machiavelli before, and there's another game as well that they did before, that dogpiling was a really serious problem that spoiled multiplayer games. And nobody likes to be picked on, right? And then they just get taken out of the game.
Sorry, Drexy's just saying we need to speed up, and I think he's right. We're an hour in, and we've only a few games in.
Well, let's just not talk about the interesting games so much then, because these are the games that exemplify games design. I don't care about the B tier stuff, personally speaking. I think that really these are the games at the top that exemplify what makes gaming great and what makes games design an art form, right? And so, anyway. All
right. Well, let's skip past the rest of these. I mean, Machiavellia, again, for me, a bit too old. That's why I've rated that one down. I know that you love again, how tight it is.
I love it, it's a great game, that.
Imperial Greek Wars, I found this one really clunky, personally. I didn't enjoy it. What do you
mean by clunky? What does clunky mean?
It wasn't intuitive to play. It ended up... I thought I would love it, and when I played it, I just got frustrated. It was actually a game where... it was again hard to understand what was going on. So
you baffle me a bit, Daz, because you're the guy who taught me how to play Dominions, and you figured out ASCII Dwarf Fortress, right? Probably before the wikis were that good. And so the fact that you can't figure out a game like Imperium's Greek Wars, which has got an incredibly good manual, what gives?
Yeah, no, I just didn't.
A few people off, but it's just.
I didn't like it. I wasn't energised by it, I guess, is one of the because I do find that certain games do energise me, and this one just didn't.
Yes.
I found I was fatigued when I played it. There's
something about the graphics that put people off. Definitely, I agree. I agree with you on the energisation. I'm 100% in agreement with you there. I don't think that's part of the reason why I wouldn't put that game as a masterpiece, even though I think the design shows. I think the design shows mastery of the 4X genre, because that is by far the best historical 4X that I've ever played. The issue is that it's probably a little bit complex for most people, and I think that the graphics put people off too.
Yep. Okay, so the next one that we've got is Master of Magic. This is the Windows version that you put up in the S tier. I would go and put that in the masterpiece tier. To be honest, even though it's old, the Windows version is still playable, and I think it is such a classic, and so many games have stemmed off this that I would actually raise it higher, personally. So for me, I'm happy with it being an S tier, but I would actually elevate that into masterpiece.
Just want to interject quickly. So that's not Master of Magic. That's Caster of Magic for Windows, yeah. And it's a different game. It's significantly different. It's much more aggressive. Now, if you drop the difficulty level, Caster of Magic is actually quite a nice sandbox game, like the original was. But if you play it, properly, let's say in inverted commas, where you treat it as a high pressure game with a really strong AI, which is what it is, it's brutal. And so I can't beat Master of Magic on. I can't remember what the difficulty scaling is called, but the one over normal, the one where it plays with a full AI, it will just come in and just wreck me. And I've lost series on YouTube where I've just come in and the AI has just gone, nope, you're dead now, and that's it, and I'm done. It comes in with some crazy strategy that I've not thought of.
So just to be clear, there's questions coming up. It is Caster of Magic that Ben has put into S tier, and it's Caster of Magic that I would actually elevate up for modern play. So for me, it's a masterpiece. The original Master of Magic is a classic masterpiece, but not one that I would play. I can't go back and play the original, but I can certainly play the Windows version and the Caster and when actually Slytherin took over the Master of Magic franchise, they actually ended up with they built the Windows version and then actually had Caster of Magic sort of as part of that as well. So if you do get that, you get all of those things, and I would put that in the masterpiece level, I think, personally. But I think we're sort of in agreement about it being such an important game. So let's move forward. So we've got Civilization 4. There was actually talk before about where was Civilization 2, and I think that this is one of these ones where, again, I would consider 2 or 4 to be masterpieces as well. I think either one of those could actually end up being elevated. I think we both have respect for up to that point for Civilization. So I think we're in 100% agreement.
I played the very first one. On Civ 2 and Civ 3. I didn't play 1 a lot, although I played it more recently. But Civ 2, 3, and 4 I played really heavily. Civ 2 I played a lot, but Civ 3 and 4 I played really heavily. And I still play Civ 4 now. I think it's just it's nearly a masterpiece. And the only reason it's not a masterpiece is the AI. I think but there's loads of mods now. Somebody told me even the naval AI, you can mod it so that it's better, and that's no trivial task.
Yeah. People are saying Civ 5 should be up there as well, but. And also I like
Civ 5 too.
It's the Fall from Heaven mod as well has been mentioned there. Began's mentioned that one. Just like that made that was Civ 4, wasn't it? Or was that Civ 2?
Yes.
Civ 4
Civ
was.
4.
Yeah. For me, that
from Heaven 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. That mod, best mod ever made at the point. Yes, I agree with you, and I think that. Along with that mod, I mean, we're putting mods into these lists as well, and I think that sort of combination does make it still relevant today. I think I
wish I'd done that separately. Actually, I think Fall from Heaven's. It's not quite a masterpiece, but it's nearly. I mean, it's one of. I think the combat system and the way that it implements spells is a little hacky. That's my only real problem with that, but it's just the limitations of the game engine. But there are other mods, Civ mods that are, Civ 4 mods that are really good. Like the Dune one is really good as well.
I haven't played that one actually, so I don't know that one. But I was so impressed, and of course, Derek Paxton, who was the person who sort of put together the Fall from Heaven mod, then went on to Stardock, put together.
He did, yep.
He saved Elemental, and then actually went on into Gal Civ, and now he's over at Amplitude, isn't he? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's actually now putting together the Endless Legends 2. So he's actually now the developer there. So it's interesting to sort of see modders who sort of move through these. And I think, Ben, you've actually mentioned, like when you actually put your video together, you were actually praising like Ale, for example, as well. Like it does incredible AI. But anyway, we'll get to that. In fact, the next one is exactly that, sort of, is Gladius. Now,
Gladius.
This is one of my favourite games. I would put this in masterpiece level, personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would.
I wouldn't argue. I'm not going to argue with you about that one, mate. I think we're broadly in alignment. What can you say about Gladius? Where are its flaws?
Well, its flaws. Its
That's a good
flaws
question.
are, and I guess this is actually to answer, like the reason that, from your definition, like a masterpiece should be flawless. The flaws with this is what Zephon has put in. So if Zephon was Warhammer and had the same factions, etc., from Gladius, I think Gladius would be perfect. And by that I mean road systems, just the tightness of what Zephon did, and the freedom of what you could do in Zephon, which you don't actually have in Gladius, would make Gladius elevated. And I've always felt that roads were always a problem in Gladius, like the lack of being able to build your own roads. Just even that alone is actually a reason.
Well, hang on. You don't need them though, because you've got transport units in Gladius.
You still need
That's what
them.
the transport units are for.
Well, then why have them in Zephon then?
Okay, so let me ask you: do you ever build rhinos when you're playing as Space Marines?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, because like if you don't, you're not playing right, in my opinion. So that's why you've got transports already. I don't see what roads would add, honestly. But
well, it's the
anyway.
Like I use a mod to get around that road system, and I don't. And with the mod, what it does is it speeds up your movement a little bit when there's no enemies around, and so you don't notice it. But what it does do is it changes the pacing of the game, and I really love it with that mod.
Idea.
Yeah, it's sort of.
I'll have to try that.
It actually you don't even notice it. It's just that you can move across the map a lot faster than because you don't have roads. So and so with that mod, I don't need roads, but without that mod, I wish I had them. And it's
Just very quickly before we move on. I haven't got a lot to say about Gladius, but what I will say is the reason why it's not a masterpiece for me is the AI, as good as it is, it's just a little bit exploitable. I think once you've figured out what it does, I got this from you, Daz, when we were playing together. You were like, let me show you how to kind of stop the AI from triggering, because it's one of those things. It's like the AI and AI war a little bit. Like if you leave it alone, it won't touch you. But if
to a degree, actually,
kind of,
it still will.
To a degree, it will. But sometimes it will be distracted, right? And so you can kind of like not poke the bear for a bit and just level up, like and you clear the wildlife, level up your forces until you're kind of ready. But on the higher difficulty settings, it does kind of come for you anyway. That's my only gripe with Gladius. I haven't got any other problems with the game. I think it's nearly perfect.
Yeah, for me, it should be
a 4X game.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It's not a 4X game, is it? It's it sort of is. If you have to build cities, I think it still meets your criteria.
It ticks. If you want to play a 4X like game, but you want it to be more combat oriented.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I see it's more like it as like turn-based StarCraft. Like it's like a turn-based RTS game, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Yeah, but it does. I think the actual city building is really quite tight with that game as well.
Yeah.
So
it is. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. So Eddie Ballgame saying the only flaw with Gladius is the initial loading time on some PCs. Yeah, I agree 100%. If you don't have an SSD drive, it's a nightmare. Like it'll take
really?
5 minutes. Yeah. Like I've now got an SSD drive for my Steam games, but I didn't for a long period of time. And if I was going to do a recording of Gladius, I'd have to start the game, go away for 5 minutes, and come back and wait for it to load up. So it was a bit of a problem. Anyway, let's continue on. So we've got Galciv 2 is you've put that there. I agree with you. I think that's a superior game. Not anymore, but it's at its time, I think it was very, very good. So
I'd still play it. I think I'd probably still rather play Galciv 2 than Galciv 3. Although I like Galciv 3 too, but I think Galciv 2 is probably a tighter game.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I agree with you with that as well. I think Galciv 3 was too soft. It was too. It wasn't as tactical as Galciv 2. I think Galciv 2 did a better job with combat and also just with the rock paper scissors aspect of the way that the ships actually sort of worked. I thought was really, really cool. So and actually Fedras into Galciv 2 as one of the best AI around. Yeah, look, and I know that Stardock put a lot of effort into the AI, like getting the AI to sort of do different things. So so I think that the S tier for Galciv 2 in its time, I think is fine. I would now, if you were looking from the modern time, definitely Galciv 4 replaces that in that tier for me. So I would have Galciv 4 up in this tier. But it came Galciv. Let's face it, Galciv 4 where it is now came from Galciv 2 more than Galciv 3 ultimately, and which is great. Star Wars Rebellion.
Yeah, we'll talk about Galciv 4 when we come to it.
Yeah, Star Wars Rebellion. I don't know anything at all about this. I've never played it, so
it's a really old game, Daz. I don't think you'd like it. You're not going to enjoy that.
No,
I think if it had a modern interface and it was a new game and it wasn't Star Wars, you'd probably really like it in terms of the quality of the game's design. But I think most of our disagreements are going to come from the fact that you won't play old games and I like them. That's basically, that's it in a nutshell. I think we broadly agree on design principles. I think so. Yes,
I think so. Yeah. Now the last one in this tier is Stars in Shadow. I really love this game, but I wouldn't call it an S class. I would just drop it down one. I would put it as A, and you've put it at the end of your list. Yeah, because you actually.
I wasn't really sure where that one went. I think somewhere between S and A. I just think it's really tight. Yeah. And it has really good AI. That's in a time when I was really trying to find a 4X game that had really challenging AI, because I think every really serious 4X gamer goes through this period where they look for something that's really going to challenge them, and really should be playing multiplayer if that's your attitude. But still. Stars in Shadow's got a really good AI. Really, really good.
Actually, it's an interesting comment here. Felix is then saying Stars in Shadow versus ISG is always a fight I want to hear about. That's a very interesting thought. That's actually...
They're both good games.
They're both good games, but immersion-wise, which one for you is more immersive?
Immersion-wise, I think ISG is probably a better game, but in terms of...
I disagree.
Design, I think Interstellar Space Genesis is designed to be more of an immersion-based game because it's got more mechanics in there that don't actually support the game's design, and that's always why they bolt these things on. It's like our game needs to have we've got to have diplomacy because 4X games have to have diplomacy, so they bolt it on afterwards and wonder why it breaks the game or it's superfluous. I think ISG, what I like about Interstellar Space Genesis is it's got that really cool colony management system. I like that. It's somewhere between the slider-based system of Master of Orion and with the best of the kind of building-based system from Master of Magic and Master of Orion 2. I like that. I think that's really good, but I prefer Stars in Shadow. It's just a bit tighter. It's a snappier to play. I think the combat's better in Stars in Shadow.
Yes.
The only problem with Stars in Shadow is it doesn't get updated much now. The developers I think they're still working on it apparently, but it's been
really
since anything's
that's surprising.
On it, apparently.
Oh, that's actually really, really good to hear because again, excellent game. So actually, we've got a comment here. So Stars in Shadow is minimalist, ISG is maximalist. I think that's a good way of summarising it.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I think that's true. I wouldn't say it's a maximalist game, not in the original sort of literary sense, but
between the two of them.
Looser.
Yeah, Stars in Shadow is very, very tight, but I find it more immersive, to be honest, because you just get into it and start playing, and you get a feel for the faction very, very quickly. For me, it's actually no matter which faction you're playing, and each faction is got a really good personality about it. Like, I mean, let's face it, the artist who was actually involved in that, the cartoonist that they actually got to help design the game, not just do the graphics, but actually had a big say in what actually happened. It was just phenomenal, actually having his input.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next tier. So we're now going to be looking at the A tier games, and there's a lot of them in here. So this is the list that we're going to be looking at. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So there's a heap of them. So we're going to have to sort of rattle through these.
Let's go through them quick, guys. We'll just pick the ones if we agree on stuff, we don't need to talk about it much.
Yeah. Okay, let's just go through. So this is I've got Master of Magic. We've already spoken about that one. I would put it down to B though, the base game. I don't think it's an A game anymore, but classic in its era. It defines so much. Important game.
Yeah.
Sins of a Solar Empire. Yep. I think A class for Sins of a Solar Empire I think is awesome. Distant Worlds 2, again, one of my favourite all-time games. I've got the little starry eye emoji there. Oh, by the way, if anyone wants the graphics for this, I will put them on my Coffee page. So, which is just coffee.com/DasTactic, but it's not there yet. We literally, this was I've been trying to put the graphics together for this for the last couple of hours before we started streaming, and I thought I was going to have about an hour to set everything up. I haven't even put Ben's link in my YouTube description, so all that will come. So make sure you're checking out Ben's channel as well. Just in YouTube, just search for Battlemode, you'll find him pretty quickly, and you'll find his actual original video as well, where he actually goes through this list in a lot of detail. I think it's 3 hours, a 3-hour discussion.
Maybe 4 hours, yeah.
4.
Okay. You know what it does? I recorded it, and then I had some music on in the background, and I when I came to listen to it back, and I did a sound test, but the music was too loud, and I was like, oh no, not another one of these videos where I've done it, and I feel like I've done a good job, but so I had to record it the next day, because my voice breaks after about 2 hours of talking.
I'm the same.
I can, you tend to take more space between. You can do long live streams. I struggle, man, because I'm like just yapping away, and I don't take a break. So, but I had to do it twice, and the second time it came out nearly 4 hours, and I thought, well, at least if people fall asleep with it on, which often happens with me because I'm a boring person, then at least I get the ad revenue while they're asleep. You know what I mean?
Actually, it's funny, it's funny how you say that you had to re-record it. I do that a lot with important videos. And I would say that the video you put together was an important video. Kudos to you for doing what you did and spending the time that you did. Even though I disagree with a lot of what you said, I actually do think that it was actually very well thought out and very well presented. So, and I think that when you do it a second time, you do it better.
It's the third time now, or fourth time. I don't want people just to agree with me. I think this is what I think people, when I'm a debater type, right? And I'm a mass debater in certain respects because I like to do it on things like Discord, and so I'll often be holding conversations with people, all at once, and I think I can be a bit intimidating when I talk because I'm a bit slippery, and I'll stick to my point. But really, I do like people to talk about this stuff, because if it wasn't for other people pushing back, I don't learn anything, and then my skills as a critic don't improve, and that's useless. Don't agree with me. God, that's the worst thing you can do.
Well, we never have we? We've always disagreed fundamentally on little things. We love the same games, but for different reasons, and which is fun. I actually always really enjoy. Guys, I've got to say, Battlemode and I actually do talk a lot outside of. We don't do that many recordings together, but we do talk a lot, and we argue vociferously about games all the time, and so
mostly about one game. I think if it wasn't for that one game that we always argue about, we'd probably get on better.
Shadow Empires and artillery.
Siege infantry.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep on going.
Yeah,
so
let's move on.
So Master of Magic, I just think it's maybe a bit high in this list. It's people have sort of mentioned, really, are you judging this based on the era it's from, or from the current era? I don't know if you found this when you're putting the list together. I'm finding when I'm actually looking at these games, I'm actually a bit of both. Some of them I think, this game is too important to have a never play again category to it, but it's just too important, the game. And Master of Magic is exactly that for me. I'll never play that again, but it's a classic game, and it deserves accolades. So I don't know did you find that when you were putting your list together that was actually a hard thing to say, would I play it today, or is this just an absolute classic game?
No, because I like I said, I judge games based on how they play to me now, right? I don't have the same feeling of friction getting into a game. In fact, often if there's an element of friction between me and a user interface, it kind of makes me want to learn it. That's one of the reasons why I stuck with Shadow Empire so long, but that's a different topic anyway. But no, I don't really get that. There are some games, Daz, that I probably won't go back to, that I've still rated quite high on the list, just because Who's got time to play 100 different 4X games? Every single one of those games, from probably like C tier upwards, really deserves to be played for like dozens of hours each.
Yep.
Like pretty much every game on this list they're designed to be replayable. Like
Yes.
like classic roguelikes. That's the whole point of 4X. They are designed to be endlessly
Yeah.
replayable. Every single one of them. So I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I
very
probably
true.
won't go back and play. So I probably won't go back and play. I don't know.
Star
I probably
Ruler.
won't play Galciv too much. I wouldn't play Star Ruler myself that much now. I just think it's too intense to play, and I'm not a big fan of the AI war games now personally anymore.
Yeah,
Even though I
I'd never play them again. Yeah, and again, it's like let's just go through the list now before we get into
let's
AI
go through
war.
it, yeah.
So for me, Distant Worlds, I won't say it's a masterpiece because it's still not. It's not polished enough for that, but for me, it's very close. So I've given it a big up. So that would definitely be an S tier game for me, Distant Worlds 2.
Yeah.
But I
It's getting better
love
and
it.
better.
Yeah, I just love it. I absolutely love that game. Now you've got Aurora 4X in through here as well. I think that's the right position for it. It's one of those games that I haven't played a lot of it, but from what I can see,
I've not.
yeah, it's A tier. It is A tier. Like it's free. Basically, you can download it. Very very complex, very detailed. A bit like Dwarf Fortress in space, I guess, in that sort of sense. I've tried a few times.
It's probably not quite as complex as Shadow Empire actually. Where it is, what's complex about it is it's detailed. Like super fine detail, and a lot of it you have to do yourself. So yeah, it's not an easy game to learn. But I think if it's like if you like role playing, and it was built as a role playing game tool originally,
Yeah.
before it was even intended to be a video game. I think if you like, your imagination going wild, I'll put it in the same category as trying to play a BattleTech campaign through Mech HQ, which is a way to play BattleTech campaigns, but again with the computer running all the simulation. It's like that. You start to know all your characters, and you start having you think about the mechs, the designers working on the mechs or the engineers, and when people die in combat, you're like, oh no, I love that guy, he's around for years or whatever. I think it's one of those kind of games. It's a real head candy game.
It's funny actually. I'm going to do something a bit unusual here. I'm going to go and open up the D class games and just quickly go down because there is actually. Sorry, got the wrong. Not the D class. The E class. Is it down this way? It must be this one here. On this list, you've actually got stars with an exclamation mark.
Oh yeah,
And
I really want to play that.
yeah, but it's too old now, so don't bother. Aurora 4X is basically like if you played Stars when it first came out. For me, this was a better game than Master of Orion by a mile. I played this one religiously for so long. Anyway, I just thought I'd just mention that we're talking about Aurora 4X. Aurora 4X is basically, if Stars kept on development, it sort of would end up being Aurora 4X, I think. Would be the sort of the way. So I think Aurora 4X is sort of like where Stars was an incredible game, and for me, much better than Master of Orion. Not as graphical. So it was like a Windows spreadsheet game from Windows 95
Very minimal graphics.
or Windows 3.1.
Yeah, it's really odd looking.
It's tiny.
But I think it's a tighter game than Aurora 4X maybe.
Only because it's limited. It's just limited. That's all. Anyway, Space Empires 4 Deluxe. I don't know. I think it's too high in your list. I would knock that down. I think in its era it was important, but not anymore. There is actually now
That's what Distant Worlds is based on. I think it's clear that Elliot and Eric played Space Empires 4.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I haven't heard them say that though.
Same kind of depth.
Oh no,
kind of depth.
no, not with the no, Ben.
Not with
Sorry.
the simulation, but with the depth of the mechanics.
Where's the mute button?
Sorry, man.
No, this is Space Empires 4. That's probably a discussion for another day. It's been decades since I've played Space Empires, but I
played it recently.
Have you? Well, there's actually a Space Empires was made into a board game. And
yes,
and the board game has just come out, and it's bloody good. It's a really, really good game. So I did actually a week or so back. I played it on the channel. So if you do like, I think it's called Space Imperium, because they couldn't use the Space Empires name for the actual the board game is called Space Empires, but the actual digital version is, I think, Space Imperium or something like that. I think that's what it is. I can't remember the exact name. Oh, there's another thing too.
Have you played that?
Sorry?
Have you played the board game version?
No, but I've played the digital version of the board game, and from what I understand,
What's it? Is it good?
It's very faithful to it. Yeah, it makes me want to play the board game. To be honest, it looks that tight, that fast to play as well. The pacing is great. It's so that's very good. Actually, Ben, I'm going to take a little deviation here. We're talking about this just before we started recording. Mega Mech, would you put that in as a 4X?
No, not really.
Why not? Why not?
No, it's a tactics game.
No, it's got tactical components, just as Age of Wonders does and other games. But
so Mech HQ,
yes,
if you mean the campaign system.
Yeah, with that.
No, but
hang on. You still got to explore.
It's not really, but
you're building
an empire. It's not really an empire building game. And
well, not an empire, but 4X doesn't have to be empire, does it?
True. Well, maybe. But look, what I will say is that it scratches the same kind of itch that you would get from playing a good, really expansive, super detailed, like an Aurora 4X kind of game. I think
that's why I'm thinking of it. Sorry, when we're talking about
I mean, if I was gonna rank Mega Mech and Mech HQ as BattleTech basically, I'd put them in like A tier. The problem is that I've got with those games is that the software's still just a little bit too buggy for me. So I just run into bugs with Mech HQ a lot. But if in a perfect world where there's no bugs and it works perfectly and I don't have any of these little UI gripes and stuff, I think it's an S tier game.
It is an S tier game, but you still wouldn't call it a 4X. Even though you do all of the things that you do all of the 4Xs, you do actually in Mech HQ.
Where's your city management?
Well, you don't. You've got your mercenary management, so you're actually still managing.
Yeah, I suppose.
You're managing your forces. You're managing your personnel.
I can bend and put that in as a 4X-ish.
And you put that in S tier.
I think it's an S tier game. Yeah, if it wasn't as buggy as it is.
Yeah.
Because I losing campaigns and stuff that's what really started to get my goat about playing Mega Mech. But as a tactics game, just you pick a lance of of troops. You and me should play this sometime together. Because I didn't know you played it, but if you play Mega Mech, we should do it. We should do a video on that because that's such a great game, man.
Yeah.
Me and my mate Coffee, we play that, and it
that'd be
takes
good,
like
actually.
2 or 3 hours to play a game.
That'd be fun.
It's
just a tactical, yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. And actually, as an offside to this as well, just before I started recording, Humble Bundle has actually just come out. All of the actual manuals for BattleTech are available on the Humble Bundle store right now for about 20 more days. So if you wanted to grab all of the actual books that actually, and Mega Mech is actually is made around these books, having an actual reference of the actual manuals while you're playing the game is phenomenal. So if you're wanting to get it, I would just highly, highly, highly recommend, if you are going to be playing Mega Mech, which is free, so that's a free download, but grab those books from Humble Bundle. It's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, maybe even $1,000 worth.
It will enhance your experience of the game, because Mega Mech particularly handles, both game systems, they handle all the dice rolls, all the bookkeeping, everything for you. So it makes the game a toddle.
Yes.
Somebody here, Marcus here is saying, you know how to get rid of the bugs? Play the tabletop version. And that's correct. The thing is, a 3-hour game of Mega Mech on tabletop will take you 6 hours, 8 hours maybe.
Yeah, or more.
You have to do all the manual bookkeeping.
Because of all the dice.
Or more. And you got to paint models and stuff like that. But Mega Mech, I think Mech HQ particularly doesn't make any damn sense unless you've read the rule books. I worked out BattleTech for myself just playing Mega Mech, but the campaign systems are very complicated, and then that's before you even throw in all the optional rules and stuff. It's an incredible project, man. Let's get back to our 4X.
Yeah, let's go. Drexy's saying sidetrack. He wants us to get on with it. Okay, here we go. Elemental. I agree with your A tier for that game, but I love it. So for me, this is a game
It's
that
controversial, I think, for a lot of people because, look, I have to tell people I work for Stardock, and so I have got a clear conflict of interest there, and I've tried to be as honest as I can in in my critique of the games, and I'm given remarkable freedom by Stardock to do so. I think because they know that it doesn't help for people just to haze their games and say they're great if they're not. But I still get, I still got one guy going, "You're an idiot. You didn't even disclose that you work for Stardock." Because I did in the first 2 minutes of the video.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely, you did. Like, absolutely.
I was block that guy straight away.
Well,
but yeah, but it's. I think that Elemental is not a tight game. It's getting there though, and it is improving. I feel like there's some of my personal opinion in Elemental here. I think actually, I think in terms of design, it's a B tier game. Maybe the thing is though, it's a really good sandbox game, and that's what Stardock do well.
Yeah,
this is one of Brad's games, right? And with Brad's games because they're really sandbox like. He loves this like expansive, sandbox style games that have got tight elements within them, but allow you lots of headspace and freedom to customize the game and play how you want to. He's really big on that, and I think Elemental's really successful in that respect. I had some of our mutual friends, I'm not going to name who, don't like Elemental at all.
Really?
And they tell me why. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, it's a crap game, and here's why." Blah blah blah. But I think that if you try to look at Elemental through the lens of Master of Magic or Eodor Genesis or Age of Wonders, it's not a competitor for those games, man.
No,
really,
it's not.
It's a Fantasy 4X.
Yes,
but it plays.
It's in the genre, but it doesn't play the same.
Yeah,
it's a great game. Like like I would at the moment I wouldn't put it into S tier, but I could see it getting there one day. Like it's sort of I think
it's an A or B tier game.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a good. I mean, that's a good game. A B tier game.
Great game. It's a great game. Great. I love it. You can see with a little starry-eyed thing that I've put on top of it. I do. Yeah, I love that game. Master of Orion 2. Agree with you. I think it's the right position for it.
It's a great game, but it's not perfect.
I think it's better than Mu 1.
I don't.
I would swap them over.
No.
Yeah, no,
that's fair. I think if you ask any Master of Orion fan, you're on a coin flip whether it's going to be. Well, I'd say about 75% of people who like Master of Orion games will say Master of Orion 2. Now, Ray Fowler, who did Remnants of the Precursors, he's got a theory about this. He thinks that because people don't really recognise Master of Orion 3 because it was really disappointing.
Yeah, it was shit.
Even though it's actually, well, I don't know. I've not played it, so I can't comment. A lot of people love it though. But Master of Orion 2 was the last.
I think it's one of the only games I put in with a poo emoji on it.
You must be one of those who were disappointed by it then, Brad. But,
I was so looking forward to it, and it was so bad.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just going to quickly grab a drink. I'll be one second. I'll just be right back. But you keep on talking, Ben.
So yeah, Master of Orion 2. I think that so Ray Fowler's theory was that because it was the last Master of Orion game that people really kind of that they really enjoyed. It was a sequential update to Master of Orion 1, and so it was still a great, that was the last one that they got. Master of Orion 3 fell on its face, so they were playing that one for 20 years until, Wargaming came along with their Master of Orion Conquer the Stars, which I've not really played. Oh yeah, that should be on here, shouldn't it, too?
Which one?
Well, anyway, so I think that's why. I think that's what Ray thinks. He thinks that because Master of Orion 2 was superbly well presented, and it is beautifully well presented as well. The graphics are great, the music's great, the user interface is gorgeous. Everything about the game except that bloody colony management system and the reduced ship count in the battles. Other than that, I love it. And I said on my video, if I got dumped on a desert island and I only had like Master of Orion 2 to play, I'd be quite happy. It's a really good game, man.
Okay, so actually, what have I done? I've got Galaxy 4 there with a bland. I've done something completely wrong here, guys. Sorry, just going to quickly go in and change something. That's not right. There we go. Sorry, I just noticed that. Yeah. Okay, so AI War.
I was surprised then when I saw that.
That's
because I thought you liked it more than you did.
I do a lot, and anyway, I don't know why that's actually there. It's I know. Look, again, I was rushing, as you know, Ben. It was frantic. I was frantically trying to make this graphic. All right, so AI War. I've got no problem with it being A tier, just because of the importance of what the game did. But I personally find both games pretty bland, and I always have. But I do appreciate what the dev did to build the game. I never like games where you have too many units, and for me, these just went exponentially big with the units, and for me, that just loses all immersion. And so that's the only reason that I've got bland faces there. I would not want to play it again, to be honest.
I don't play those anymore. I've got to be honest with you. The reason why I've ranked them highly is because, one, they're a rare example, other than Sorcerer King, of a half decent asymmetric game. Although I think they're better than Sorcerer King. And the other thing is the game AI is phenomenally good.
It is good, yeah. And also the way that you actually, when you play the game, if you don't, a bit like Gladius, if you don't threaten the AI will hold back, and so you actually can play at your own pace. And I thought I really liked that. And it's only when you start to get aggressive and start getting ready to expand that the AI will start to push back. And I thought that was just brilliant, the way it worked. Just incredible, actually. So again, I appreciate the art of what they've done as a design, but I don't like the game much myself because of the
game
scale.
Stuff's always. Sorry to interrupt you. I just thought off the top of my head, like Arcane Game stuff is like, really, they're always really interesting ideas. I don't think the design always lands. It took AI War and AI War 2 a long time to be as good as they are now. Yes, and I think that
Well, you got another one of their games that you rated pretty low, which I think should be rated much higher. To be honest, Birth of the Federation was one of theirs, wasn't it?
No, I didn't rank it low. I just haven't played it, Daz.
Right. Okay.
So what I played of it looked cool. I ranked it in that haven't played list.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't feel comfortable talking about it.
Fair enough, Ben. I'll give you that. I've just got to start to get my aggression levels up because we're getting close to the sea.
You got to power up, Daz.
Star Ruler. I don't know how you put this up here. I was so frustrated with this game. Pretty much for the same reason the AI War, with everything just being scaled to the maximum, as if that's what, like, so many devs do that, where they think, let's make the biggest of this and the best of that and the most of these different types of units, and it just kills games. And I've got to say, Elemental suffered from that initially, when it first came out. So there's been, original game. Which is no longer really a problem. Like games need limits, and I found Star Ruler, from what I remember of it, was a game I was really looking forward to, and was incredibly disappointed, just with the scale of what you could build. And I think, this is just stupid. There's no limitations. So I think I would put this down as a C tier personally.
Okay, I think that So a friend of mine's got this thing that he says, which is. Difficulty clarifies games design. Again, that's Mark from the Electric Underground, and I agree with this. You will find that a good game, if you ramp up the difficulty, and the game that will show you aspects of the game that are working and aspects that are not when you're under pressure. So if the game's design collapses as you increase the difficulty, kind of like Age of Wonders 4, for example, then you know that the design is actually kind of crummy. I think that Star Ruler 2 is an example of a game that when you push the pressure up, actually the limitations of the game start to be made known. And part of that is it's an RTS game, so your attention is a resource in that game. And for example, you've got to keep an eye on the diplomacy, because you've got this kind of diplomacy bidding war stuff going on while you're also fighting wars, while you're also doing that linking up of the colony tree. It's very much an RTS. And I think if you think about it in the headspace of it's an RTS game with 4X elements, like Sins of a Solar Empire 2 is really as well, then I think the game makes the design of the game becomes clarified under that pressure. Do you see what I mean?
I know what you mean. I think I'm more negative about the game because of what happened with Star Ruler 1. Like I
played that one.
No, well, it's not the playing. It was actually the development. It was a half-finished game. and then he moved on to Star Ruler 2, and it really pissed people off. And so I was always going to be treating Star Ruler 2 much more harshly because of the way that Star Ruler 1 was left. And from what I can remember, anyway, it was a long time ago. Actually, it's funny because that was the first. This was the first game that I really sort of got involved talking with Rob, who started off Explorminate, because he was Devil Dog. He was so tied to this game. Like he really loved it. Like he loved the idea of it, and I did too. So he was really involved in the forums, and I know that he was super pissed off with what happened with Star Ruler 1. Super pissed off, and rightly so. And so I think that made me feel a lot more negative about Star Ruler, both games. But just to clarify that. So,
I think Star Ruler 2, or if you on your own personal tier list put that in D tier, I'm not going to argue with you. It's a weird one for me.
I wouldn't put it down that low.
Don't play it.
The user experience, the user UI is actually pretty good. Like it's actually got a good user experience and a good UI.
It's a really complex game. It's one of the most complex games. I mean, it's way more complex than Sins of a Solar Empire 2 even.
Yes, yeah.
And that's not a trivial game to get ready.
But it's, again, you've got the scaling. Like the Sins of a Solar Empire for me is fantastic because you've got the limitations with the units you can make and the immersion because of that. Whereas Star Ruler 2 just ended up being, how many of these bloody little ships can you make? Like it's just, and then just chuck them across.
Its own weight.
It does, and it just ends up being one of those point and click games. You're like where you just go, okay, everyone just go this way and kill all these. It's just boring.
Yeah, I follow you. Yeah, I think there's an element of truth to that. Absolutely.
Okay. Let's keep on going.
So we're agreeing way too much.
I know. Even when I was putting these little ticks down, I was thinking, what the hell? This is not the way it's supposed to work. Civ 3, I found it bland, but I agree. I think that you've got to pay respect to these old games like this. Like it's, again, I would never play it. Like it's I
don't think I'd play Civ 3 again, not unless it was outside of research. I think some people like that. That was the last really good Civ game for some people. Some people don't like Civ 4. They feel that it was a dumbed down version.
See, maybe there should be a B game now. Like if again for a modern time, I think it would be B or even C. But for in its era, I think A is fine, but I don't think it's beyond that. So I'm thinking this is one of those. Yep. Sorry.
I wouldn't yell at you if you put it in B tier, Daz.
Yep. Yeah, no. I think now, I'm clouding back to historically. How important was the game? It was a good game in its era, but not now. Okay, next one we have is, and I forget the name of the game. I always forget about it.
Astro Protocol.
Yes, this one you've put as I would knock this down one level, and simply because of the graphics in it. I think the gameplay is really tight. I think it's a simple game. Actually, this is one of those games where I think that you probably appreciate different things than what I do with the game. A little bit like Armageddon Empires. I think it's sort of like it's... and I would say it's almost the same sort of thing where the game itself works very, very well. Like it's a fun game to play. It's a great game. So I do enjoy the game a lot. Highly recommend the game. But it's fairly simple. And I found Armageddon Empires the same sort of thing, yeah. So it was... so for me, I think it's a tier too high.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I'll be honest, I've only played it for a couple of hours, but I quickly figured out what the designer was trying to do with that. It's supposed to be a tight, fast-paced puzzle game where the headspace decreases rapidly towards the end. So, I mean, what that means is as you get towards the closing end bits of the game, there are right and wrong moves, right? Whereas at the start, you've got a bit more space in order to figure out where you're going. But it's very close to the puzzle end of the puzzle and sandbox, polarity, as Lucid Tactics and I used to talk about. I think it's very puzzle based. I agree with you on the graphics. The graphics need work, and I mean, look at that thumbnail. The art's terrible.
Yeah, it is. This reminds me of Space Empires 4. and Interstellar Space Genesis, to be honest.
Horrible.
ISG has got the same graphical problem.
I can't stand.
They're just shit.
Graphics either. Yeah,
I mean, Space Empires was bad in its own era, like in terms of its visuals with the characters.
Oh, God, it looks terrible now. Space Empires 4. Do you know what 3D graphic? Sorry, early 3D does not age well.
No. So particularly when it's used nowadays. Why in 2026? Because this game only just came out. Why in 2026 would you do that? I don't get it. Yeah,
I don't
weird.
like it. Some people, I guess, art is. I think there's an argument that art is subjective. It's very subjective. Whereas I think games also is not.
A lot of people don't actually appreciate the importance of art, and we'll be talking about Age of Wonders 4 fairly soon. That's a dig at you, Ben.
I'm ready to give you a dig. Yeah.
So anyway, let's keep on going. Now, Distant Worlds universe. Nowadays I would never play it. I would never play this again.
No, me too.
Yeah,
I don't think it's as good. It's still a good game, and there's aspects of Distant Worlds.
The pirates are still better at this stage.
That was great gameplay. I think Distant Worlds Universe is a better sandbox game, whereas I think Distant Worlds 2 is tighter now.
Yeah,
and for example, the combat in Distant Worlds was crap, and you couldn't really use tactics, strategic tactics.
I disagree. I disagree 100%.
Well, in Distant Worlds Universe, you couldn't even flank enemy ships very easily. I couldn't control it anyway. I could never get anything out of Distant Worlds Universe in combat that was interesting. For me, it was a empire building, ant farm simulation game. Whereas Distant Worlds 2 now, you can actually play it almost like an RTS, almost like Sims a little bit.
Yeah, look, my take on that, my rebuttal to that would be that the combat in Distant Worlds Universe was all about making sure you had enough logistics, and Distant Worlds 2 doesn't have that aspect about it, and I wish it did, to be honest, because if you were going to go and invade a star system in Distant Worlds Universe, you just didn't have the range of fire, the field of fire. That's one of the things that are a bit different with this, but you still had to plan. You had to have your resource, like your refueler ships, had to go there. You had to defend it with fleets. You had to have tankers.
That from Distant Worlds Universe.
Yeah, the tankers. You had to have tankers go with them. You had to protect the tankers all the way through. So to actually invade a star system any distance away was actually a massive undertaking, and I loved it. And I do miss that. I've got to say. So
that's why I dropped Distant Worlds 2. It's not an S tier game for me because I think there's just too many opportunities where the game could have, they could have really leaned into the resource economy thing better. Do you remember, one of my favorite things doing in Distant Worlds Universe was reducing the star count but increasing the map size. So in order to be able to get to star systems that were miles away, light years away, you had to build bases and you had to take you had to build enough tanker ships to be able to get there and back. It was a
fun
puzzle game.
It was so much fun for you and me, baby.
Yeah. Whereas I like watching your games when you were doing stuff like that. It was watching you play Distant Worlds that really showed me how to set that game up so it's it's such a varied game. You could have close-in knife fights, or you could have games where it's very much about the slow expansion and the colony management. It's just a great game. I feel like Distant Worlds 2 Code Force got a little bit squeamish about having players, having to do those crazy logistics missions, and it's a missed opportunity. But I haven't played Distant Worlds 2 very much recently, so I don't know if that's changed or not.
I can't wait for this next expansion. That next expansion looks phenomenal. That's gonna completely change the game. In fact, that's one of the reasons I don't want to put it into Masterpiece yet. It is, for me, it's an incredible game, but it's heading towards Masterpiece. So
I'm not on the beta anymore, so I haven't played any of the new stuff. So I'm curious to see what they've done with it.
Okay, Warlock 2. Now I love this game, and I still enjoy it actually, even though it's a fairly old game now. But this one, without the Renaissance mod, it is a pile of dog shit. It really is terrible.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's not.
So
it was with the mod that I
yes,
I was thinking of this game.
Yeah, so it's only one mod you need.
Justify it being there.
No, and there's only one mod you need, guys, if you're going to grab this game. That's the Renaissance mod, which you actually pick up. And you've got to pick up from Steam, the Steam Workshop, but you also need to download some files. It does talk you through how to actually go and install it. And Warlock 2 becomes an incredible game. I wouldn't call it S tier or even A tier at this stage. I'd still probably put it B tier at this point in time, but it certainly should be up there. Without that mod, it's a D tier game. The mod completely changes it. Interesting. Gal Civ, I haven't really played.
I would go back and play that. I would go back and play Warlock 2.
Yeah, I do.
Go back and play Warlock 2. Yeah.
I do actually. It still holds up. The interesting thing about
it's still on your playlist. Is it still on your regular rotation, or
yeah, I keep on. It keeps on coming up every so often, and I always think, yeah, I'll play that again. I've played it. I don't know when the last time I did play it. I mean, it's sort of funny because you look back when the last time you played a game, you think, gee, that was 2 years ago. But I think I've played it within the last 12 months. Where we've done a live stream, I think. Okay, so Gal Civ, this is the original. I haven't played that.
Yep.
That only came out on Mac, didn't it?
No, it was OS2 originally, back in about 1993 or 94. It's really old. And then the Windows version came out in, I think, 2000, whenever Master of Orion 3 came out. They came out exactly the same time.
Oh, okay.
And so it's Gal Civ, except you can only play it to Terran Alliance. That's one of the limitations. But the games design is actually very good. It's an A-tier games design. I think that was Brad's game, and he knocked it out of the park, man.
Well, he was still at uni, wasn't he, when he started to build this?
That was the original OSD version. Yeah,
the original,
Gal Civ, and he worked on that for years. And then there was Gal Civ 2, which was not the one we're thinking of. That was another OS2 game, and then he moved over to Windows eventually when OS2 kind of failed as a platform in the sort of late 90s. Galactic Civilizations 1 is a curiosity, I would say. It's not an essential game, but if you can buy it on GOG for really cheap, and it's actually a really good game if you don't mind playing old games.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it.
Decent.
I haven't played it, and I wouldn't play that. Okay, back into this other side now. Gal Civ 4, I think that's an A class game at A tier game. So I do agree with you. Sorry, I did actually have my graphics screwed up there. So
so I'm going to tell you this. I think I said this during the tier list. I actually think this is a B tier game in terms of its design at the moment, because it's got a lot of loose ends, but it's very
immersive game.
Oh yeah, it's very immersive. It's got elements of brilliance as well. There are some fantastic, the core world colony split, the adjacency system on the planets. I love that system, those two systems together, and that makes the games expand and explore and exploit phases like some of the best in Space 4X. The problem I've got with Gal Civ 4 personally is that it changes fast, and I think that I don't know, it's a little bit loose. Like it is a sandbox game. Gal Civ 4's main problem is you kind of need to have played Gal Civ 4 a lot to be able to know how to get the experience you want out of it, because it's not. I think people come into it thinking, oh, it's like Stellaris. It's turn-based Stellaris, as I've heard people say. And then they play it, and it doesn't play anything like what they're expecting. And then they play it again, and because of the RNG and the Civ they've chosen and the neighbours, it's completely different. And they're like, what? Oh, this game doesn't, this game's not good because it doesn't make any sense. It's like, no, Gal Civ is really, really good. But the problem is, it's just... part of my job at Stardock is selling is marketing these games to making them sound exciting for people and stuff. And I find Gal Civ, out of all of them, there's a real disconnect I think a lot of people have when they turn the game on and start playing it, between what they're sort of expecting from the game and what they get. But when you show them, like, here's how you can set the game up for it to be cool, a lot of people, they get over that hurdle and they're like, oh yeah, this is great. So it's just one of those weird games where I don't think it onboards people that well.
I think you're 100% right with that. And in fact, the comments are coming through in Twitch about this, exactly what you're saying. Gal Civ 4 is still kind of messy, lots of different mechanics, but doesn't all come together. Feels like it had multiple different game designers. Well, it did. It had, at the start, it did actually have Derek Paxton, who was the Fall from Heaven mod designer, which we already spoke about, and then Brad then took it over, and so it's had and Derek Paxton's I guess design was to make it like Galciv 3, and Brad's design was to make it like Galciv 2. So yes, you are right. But I think I find it cohesive in that sense. I think that Brad's done an incredible job of bringing the game up. It
It's
also
an underrated game, man. It kind of it burns my soul when I see people just slagging it off and not really understanding it. At the same time, I do understand a lot of the criticism, and I agree with some of it.
Well, actually, there's more criticism. If I can just address this last one, because this I think is for me gets to the heart of where it is. So Red Rum's in saying that Galciv 4 map generation is also a fight to get something decent, and I find that incredibly frustrating with the game. And you mentioning before, Ben, about that you reckon that you've got ways of setting the game up. I would love to sit down with you for an hour or so just to go through that. I think that would be really, really interesting. Just because, like,
there's a system you can use rather than a set of rules. It's like you kind of get an idea that who you're playing as and who you neighbor is a big part of the game setup. The other thing is the distance between the AI civilizations and how many worlds you've got to settle before you actually bump into them. That changes the game, because Galciv as a warfare game is actually really good fun. And that will change if you're if you're confined just to a couple of core worlds. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's really tough.
And that's like I played for 3 hours the other day just to go through the new DLC. I had to unlist the live stream because I didn't get a start in 3 hours. I didn't get an actual viable start in all that time.
What do you mean you didn't get a viable start?
I couldn't get another core world near me. It was every.
Yeah, I mean,
it was.
It depends who you're playing as, because like with the new DLC, you can play like tall. You can play with one civilization, and you go, okay, I'll go technocracy then, and then providing you don't get into a war too early, you can use your shipyard to build loads of the optimizer things, and you can still be reasonably, kind of competitive. I'm not saying it's an optimal way to play, because it ain't. Here's the thing about Galciv, right? If you play Galciv, even as a fan, and you kind of have the same way of playing it every single time, it becomes a little bit jarring when the updates come in, because they do change stuff around.
Things change a lot.
I know, right? So you might be, you're looking at the map going, "Oh, that's not a viable start," and I might have, for maybe 1 or 2 being, actually that's fine. You'd be okay there. But there's, by the way, in the chat, I saw Ilana, who also does some stuff for Stardock on the side. And Ilana's a Galciv expert. Like that's his game. He plays it like thoroughly, and I know nothing compared to him. So like Ilana is one of those people. Like if you talk to him, he will tell you how to set the game up. He'll tell you all the problems of the game, because he does not hold back. And it's one of the reasons why Brad likes him, I think, because he's the guy with no filter. And you're like, no, Brad, this sucks. Brad will fight with him, and it's just but it's cool, like, because you need someone like that. And so if Alana's sticking around, he's actually got a YouTube channel, so I'm going to plug that for him.
Alana does an incredible job with those games, to be honest, and also the information and the advice that Alana will give you about playing these games is second to none.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time, I think. He's really good at it. Let's move on, Brad. Let's move on, Daz. Sorry. What we got next?
Okay,
Old World.
No, we've got. Actually, we up to that one? Yeah, we are. Sorry, we are. Old World. Now, a few people are saying interested. I find it a little bit bland personally, but I think it still is an A-tier game. I like it much better than any of the Civ games, because I hate the progression system in Civ. I really like that Old World doesn't do that.
It's an S-tier game that is ruined by a stinker of an event system. That's my honest opinion. I don't like the event system. There's too much emphasis placed on it. And people go,
trying to make it
battle mode. Shadow Empire has got the same event system, and that's also boring. The thing is about Shadow Empire, it has a pacing to the game where it fits that slower pace.
I agree with the negative about Shadow Empire, to be honest. I hate when you get something where you have to go and meet a requirement because of an event for a different profile, and you never have the opportunity to go and get it. And I hate that. That for me is the worst thing about Shadow Empire.
But in your
hang on.
You are not in command.
There's one other thing too. Sorry, the lack of navies.
Sorry.
bringing out an Oceania DLC and the lack of navies. I was actually asked to mention that, and sorry guys, those of you who actually did say, hey, you got to slam battle mode for supporting a lack of navies DLC.
Look, man, I'm not going to speak for Vic. All right, I am. He's my mate and stuff, and Vic has been very candid about what he's been doing. I do know what he's planning, and I cannot tell you because I'm NDA to the eyeballs. So you're just going to have to wait and see, aren't you?
Okay, all right, okay. I know that navies are coming at some point. They have to come, and then I think Oceania DLC will be great. Anyway, we've gone backwards in time. I did mean to talk to you about that because when I mentioned we were going to be doing this yesterday, some people in the chat were saying, "Oh, you got to slam Ben about that he supports the Oceania DLC."
I don't think Vic. I don't know his full plans, by the way. He doesn't, tell me everything, but I think that people will be pleased with what he's doing. Is all I'll say. And
I think so. I think he's an incredible designer. And it is. I do agree with you. It's just a masterpiece game. So anyway, Old World. I haven't really played it a hell of a lot. I just don't get into it, and it's just one of those games. There's people actually in chat really saying this is an incredible. It should be considered a masterpiece.
Everybody ranks this game higher. Now, the reason why I put it in A is because, I was on the beta test for this closed beta before it was. Rob got me in the closed beta with Soren's team and that Mohawk, and I liked the order system. I like the combat system. I quite like the city management. I think most of the elements of the game are there, and it's a tight game. There's no doubt about it. It's really tight. It's just that goddamn event system. It ruins it for me. I don't want to be reading when I'm playing fast-paced. It's a fast-paced 4X game.
I hate reading walls of text.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, Tales of Arnor DLC for Gal Civ 4 for me was just like, oh god, I've got to turn that off. I've got to remember to turn that off. I find the events in that are just too wild, and the walls of text. I don't like it, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't like. I'll be honest with Gal Civ. I find it easier just to kind of ignore the text, honestly. But I think and Shadow Empire doesn't bother me either because I feel the pace of the game and the report-based system. To me, it just adds to the immersion of the game. I love that. After the 50th time that I've seen Quack Doctors, I understand it kind of gets irritating. But but Old World, it rubs me up the wrong way. I don't know why. I think it actively works against the rest of the game's design. And I know that Mohawk were really serious about making it an immersive game. It's just not that kind of game, man. If you've made a game that's that tight and that kind of, that's just really such a good 4X game. But I think that the events needed to be way less verbose. Yeah. Just give me an.
Well, I think they tried to make it. They tried to make it more of a role play game, which I think
I don't want that in it.
No, I don't either. I don't. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Because we've now been going for 2 hours and we're only in A. We've got a lot to do.
We'll skip past through some of the stuff. Like Legion War's not 4X, so let's just pass that.
I think it is, and I think it's a great game. I love this game. I was surprised to see it on your list, to be honest. Actually, that is.
It is a great game.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's a phenomenal game. This is on my tablet. It always is on my tablet. I love playing it. But I don't think it's an A tier game. I think it's a B tier game. Even though I really enjoy it, but I didn't know you played it.
Oh yeah, I do like it, and the reason why I rate it so highly is because it's got a WeGo system. So if you play it in multiplayer, you can play a game of Legion Wars in like 2-3 hours, maybe 2 hours, and even with 6 players or 8 players or whatever, it's fun. So let's play it sometime, man.
Yeah, that's for me. That's I love this one when I'm traveling. It's just a really simple game to sort of pick up and play. Okay, then we've got the Stellar Monarch 2. I don't know. I don't think that's I wouldn't call that an A. I would put that as a B tier game.
Okay, but you still think it's good, but it's not brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Sins of a Solar Empire Rebels. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Nowadays, you wouldn't play it because you got the new Sins.
No. Yeah, I think Sins 2's better, but Sins Rebellion still if I was on a desert island and that's all I had to play, I wouldn't be disappointed. It's a really good game still.
But the new Sins does a much better job. It's got all the same components, but it's just more immersive. And then Interstellar Space Genesis, yeah, really enjoy the game. I think that's an A-class, A-tier game. I agree with you. So let's move on to the B-tier games and have a look at them. Oops, I keep on putting the emojis on first.
Overlay.
So we'll put this one down. So this will be the list of games that we're going to be looking at. So and I'll just put the emojis on.
I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be back in about 2 minutes, mate.
Yeah, okay. Well, I can possibly just go through the list that I've got anyway with just things that I won't be long. Hang on, Ben. I need you to hang on, Ben. Don't go. I was only joking. Anyway, so I haven't just going through this one just so we can skip past. I haven't really played X4 Foundation, so I haven't played enough of it. So I can't really comment on that one through there. Fear the Awakening, I find it a bit bland personally, but I do agree B tier. I think it's a well done game, so I think that's actually there. Assessors Ancient Rome, I'm probably being a bit harsh there. I'm a bit bland with these games now, similarly with the other one that I'd actually had. Where was that one? Imperium's Greek Wars. I would still put these on about the same level, to be honest. So the two different games. I mean, this one here is the more recent game, so it is a bit better than the Ancient Rome. But Ancient Rome was a good game. But I wouldn't call it a B tier game. Maybe it's sort of B or C, somewhere in there, personally. Agree with Ben's assessment on Zephon. I think it's a B tier game at this stage. Could be better. I wish the elements, the same developer here from Gladius. So I would love to see the innovations from Zephon in Gladius. Age of Wonders, the original, was a really, really good game. Really solid game. I agree that that's a B tier game, basically. I wouldn't play it now. It's way, way too old. Gee, it's funny how much I can get through with Ben not being here. Civilization, which version is that? Civilization 5. I didn't really warm to this one that much, to be honest. So I would actually rank that one slightly lower. Sorry, Ben, I've just skipped through all of these. We've sort of we've covered ground again with the previous one. So
Zephon's the main one I would talk about there. That diplomacy issue is an issue. But somebody said to me afterwards, they were like, you kind of got Zephon all wrong, Ben. They were like, if you cheese the diplomacy and then you win, without much effort because, the final war is won because, you've got a load of people on your side, that's not the real ending. And really you want to be playing so that you actually defeat Zephon and the Anchorite yourself. You go it alone and you win. And I still think the diplomacy imbalances the game to the point where it's actually not as good as it should be.
Yes.
However, I'm going to try and play it again, I think. And, there's other elements with Zephon that I don't love as well. It's like the unit variety is not there for me yet. I would just rather play Gladius.
Yeah, I'm the same. However, yeah, it's more immersive.
The aesthetic. Yeah, I love the aesthetic. I think the graphics are amazing. I think the music's awesome. I think the writing is really well done. I love the intro. I love everything about it. It's that diplomacy system. It kind of fights against the Gladius style design.
Yep, I agree 100% with what you're saying. No disagreements with me there. I've got to say, every time I play it, I really enjoy it. So it is a game that I really do enjoy playing. But as a game design, it just doesn't quite hit the mark. And I think Gladius gets a lot of that because it's Warhammer. You immediately know what you're doing because if you follow any sort of Warhammer style of thing. Anyway, and Age of Wonders, I do agree that it was a very good game. Like it was S tier in its day, but nowadays
fantastic.
It's not really there at this stage. I would even put it in never play. I would never play it.
I'd rather play it than the modern ones.
Good joke, Ben. Good joke. We're gonna get fired up with some red lollies so that we can get really, really aggressive for this next little bit's coming up. Civ 5 I never really warmed into, so I would rate that lower, but I don't disagree with what you've done there in B tier.
I don't play it myself, but I recognise that the design's actually better than, like it was John Schaefer when he was at his peak. So he's another guy who went on to do he did Gal Civ 3 actually after Civ 5. Another Firaxis person that Stardock pinched for a bit. And I think
he's got some good games out now too, hasn't he? In recent
John
times.
Schaefer?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's making games anymore, is he?
I thought he was. I thought there was a game that he had made, which was quite a...
He made At the Gates was the last thing he did, and it was he didn't finish it.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
He was ill, so...
That's what I'm thinking of, actually.
He gets a I was sick pass for that one, I guess.
Yeah, yep. Gal Civ 3, like I'm happy with what you've put there, so I agree with you.
Yep.
Age of Wonders Shadow Magic. I loved this game. I wouldn't play it now, but I loved it. So I've put the Starry Eyes one on this one, and this means that I think it should be elevated to masterpiece for what it did in its era, but not for now. I wouldn't play it now.
Play it enough.
It was incredible. This was so good. This game, it was just so damn good in its era, but not now. Age of Wonders 4 is heaps better.
I've played. I think it's beautifully made from what I've played of it. I think it's really, really nice.
Sort of Aragon, got no idea. I've never heard of it.
That's a very old game. It's an SSI game from 1988, 89 or something. Really old, but it's a precursor to, I guess, to Fantasy 4X. It's a bit like Dominions, kind of.
Okay.
It's an old game, very old game. You won't like it.
No, I wouldn't.
Too old for Daz.
Yeah. Coming back over, got Planetfall. I really enjoyed this game. I would put that as an A tier game personally.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it S, but I would put it A. And you mentioned also it being the Skunk Works for Age of Wonders 4, which I think I think it's worth mentioning that. This was a game that between Age of Wonders 3 and Age of Wonders 4, they brought out Age of Wonders Planetfall, which is very, very different. It was based on, and you also mentioned in your video about the problems with. You saw it as an opportunity if you had a flying unit that you should be able to stay flying and actually be able to do combat from the air, and that it was up to you as the player to accommodate that and either to exploit it or to mitigate against it. And I disagree with that. I think that what they did in Planetfall was actually great, because what they did was they changed. Well, actually, they did it in Age of Wonders 3. They changed Shadow Magic had that aspect where you could actually fly around and actually avoid combat, as long as you could survive any sort of the missile troops for 20 turns. You were then home and hosed. You didn't even have to finish the fight. You could just wander around until the timer ran out, and then you'd go back out of the game. So, but I didn't like it. I exploited it all the time. But ultimately, I did like in Age of Wonders 3 when you could fly over the top of things and then land. And I think that Planetfall then took that even further, where you actually then had other aspects where things actually worked. And I thought that they actually did a really good job of actually getting that elevated. So you still actually had flying units, but they sort of played a different sort of style. And also with Planetfall, that's when we started to see sort of like the province system, rather than the older system that that Age of Wonders 3 had. So
yeah, I like that.
And it is
that's a good feature. That's a good feature of these games.
And it was a Skunk Works. It was a Skunk Works for Age of Wonders 4, and you mentioned that in your video too. If you're not familiar with the term Skunk Works, that means that basically it's where testing is done essentially. So it's like a test area for features that you're interested in actually trialing. And so and I think Planetfall was, for me, a great game. I would put it in an A as an A, but I wouldn't put it as an S. So
I like that one best out of the modern Age of Wonders games. I think what made that great was the thing that the Triumph didn't like, which was the mod system. The modding system made that game really good. I thought tactical combat was super crunchy.
I agree with you.
Well, that's not super crunchy, but it was better. It was better if within this safe kind of rubber ring of games design that they've created, so that new players don't fall over. And the padded cell of games design that Age of Wonders Modern is, I think it was the best one, and the mod system actually made it fun. I like that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you're right about that. So I do agree with some of your comments, but we're getting to the contentious ones fairly soon.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about Age of Wonders together with Age of Wonders 4 because
Yeah.
most of the issues that Age of Wonders Planetfall has and 3 are also in Age of Wonders 4. They've never really fixed the issue.
No. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
All right.
I really thought this was a stinker of a game. I know that you've said to me that
think a lot of people did.
you've got to come back and try it, since it's been sort of patched and reworked. I haven't, to be honest, just because I think, it's just one of these games I just really didn't enjoy. I didn't put a
You don't
dog...
like historical 4X, though. You don't really like historical 4X, do you?
No, I don't mind it. It depends on how it's done. It's this one. I just couldn't get into it. It's the whole aesthetic for me just was really bland, a little bit like Humankind.
Didn't work. Yeah.
It's sort of, for me, it's sort of in the same sort of category, and I would put that down as a D tier game. I didn't want to put I've got like a dog shit emoji for games that I thought were just an absolute pile of shit, and I wouldn't give it that, but not. I almost did.
Feel free to. I mean, it's another one that because I've worked to help promote because Stardock have obviously worked with Oxide Studios and with Microsoft on that. And so, I don't have a lot to say about Ara that I didn't say in the tier list, I'll be honest. So if you didn't like it, I totally get it. Totally get it.
All right, let's move forward. Mighty Empires, I think that, again, a game I really, really enjoy. I do disagree with some of the things you said, but I actually think it's in the right spot. I think that this is a B tier game. It's unfinished, unfortunately. I wish it was finished. It's fun to play, though.
People finished it with mods, didn't they? Sorry to interrupt. People finished it with mods, though, I think. At least they've made it, because it's really moddable. Yeah. And so I think people have done a lot
only graphically from what I can see. And so not structurally. And the thing I was disappointed about with this game is that I loved where it came from. This was a passion project from a group of mates who would want to play a game that they enjoyed to play. So they made Mighty Empires, and they had it for years and years and years. And it looks like it. Like when you play it, it's pretty clunky. But it's a passion project, and I love passion projects when I sort of see them. And so in this case, it was actually a really, really cool game in that sort of sense. But it just, and I don't know why they didn't do more with it, but we'll finish it off. I think it just got frustrating for them, and they must be under a lot of pressure as well because it's not finished. And I always feel that I've just live in a bit of hope that one day they'll come back and work on it again.
I feel the same way exactly about Wizards of Warlords, which we've got next to it. I think they're both in the same category, basically. Not necessarily the quality, but they're both could have been finished. And I mean, Wizards and Warlords hasn't been touched in 3-4 years. I mean, it's a real shame because it's, again, I mean, I'm jumping the gun a bit, but both of those games have got real potential. I feel like Dirty Empires it's very, very, like, what you said about Star Ruler 2, your criticism of Star Ruler 2, I'd throw that at Dirty Empires. They tried to put too much stuff in it.
I don't think so.
I think it's kind of, they tried to make a big, expansive sandbox game. Like, for example, what does dungeon crawling really add to that game? Like
loot,
crawling, and it would.
Well, no, because that's where you pick up your high power loot. So it's very actually, I will. This is really important, Ben. So this is really important in that game. In Mighty Empires, the best equipment and the best things that you can get come from doing the dungeons. Now, each dungeon has got multiple levels. You have to decide how much risk you're willing to take with your army.
Yeah, I like that about it. I did like that about it.
But it's all about the loot. The deeper you go, the more loot you get. The more loot you get, the stronger your army becomes. And then you can apply it to your actual main army. And then you can go off and do things.
I think it's a little bit like Genesis, where you are encouraged by if you want to be competitive with the other players, you're kind of encouraged to take on the more riskier battles and the riskier dungeons to get the bigger. Okay, right. Now looking at that respect, I need to try and play that again. I'll tell you what I really did like about Dirty Empires. Three things. One, it's got exceptional customization, so you can customize that game to your heart's content. Two, It's got an incredibly detailed and fun a civic management system. So the way that you build your cities is so cool. It's so many options. I like it. It's like Eardor Genesis level of like building tree explosion. So I love that, and I really like the combat. I thought the combat in Deity Empires was just like really good.
It was brilliant, and the other thing too, that we haven't even mentioned about it, is the way that the random maps were generated. When you walked into a tile to actually have a battle, the random map would then generate based on the tiles around it. So you would end up like if you had a mountain running down along one edge of it, that would be in the random map. The middle of the map would still be whatever the tile that you're moving into is, and I thought that was fantastic. That way you could actually plan the approach to do an attack to actually have terrain where you can make the best use of it, and I thought that was brilliant. There were so many things in Deity Empires that were just brilliant. In fact, it's so much so I now want to go and play it again. It's been a while since I've played it, but it was just it was just such a shame it wasn't actually finished. But it's still such a good game, and it's and I don't know, like it's just it was. I found it's funny you mentioned Eardor. I think it's a really good way of actually thinking of it in that sort of sense. And for me, I saw that Lucid Tactics was mentioning something before about why I don't like Eardor.
I thought that too. I was going to call it out.
Yeah. if Eardor had the expansive strategic map aspect of Deity Empires, I would love Eardor, but it doesn't. It's too constrained between the provinces. Whereas Deity Empires, I find it's got a really nice feel about it, particularly because you can actually change how much terrain your cities can actually queue up. So you actually change that a little bit from the base game, and it ends up becoming a really, really impressive game. And
it's a very customizable game, isn't it? Like you can have your cities cover the map pretty much. You can have again, it's kind of like Star Ruler 2. It's what I mean. They made it so that if you wanted, your cities can be like 15 hexes and you can cover it with stuff, but or you can have it really small. So it's a bit like Master of Magic in that respect, but more customizable, I'd say.
It's very customizable.
Better combat, maybe better combat.
Yeah, the combat is very, very solid. Very solid in Deity Empires. It's much, much better than where it is, but I agree with you. It shouldn't be any higher because it's not finished. So, if that was actually a finished game and polished, and all the graphics look good, I think it would be at least an S tier. It would be that good.
I'll tell you something, Daz, dead quick before we move on. Deity Empires came out in the early access around the time that I was at uni, and I was kind of sleeping in someone's small bed, in a friend of mine who very kindly put me up because I didn't have anywhere to live in Edinburgh when I was at the uni. And so I remember perched on the edge of this bed with my PC that I'd bought, and Deity Empires had come out, and I bought a copy. And I remember playing it solidly, and I was supposed to be revising for an exam. And I remember specifically like staying up way too late because I played the game way too long, and then I had to do my maths revision for this exam that I had to do a weekly exam at University of Edinburgh, and you had to get 90% to pass. And if you failed 3 of these exams, you failed the course, right? So like every week I had this crazy exam to do, and every Friday I would be playing Deity Empires trying to figure it out instead of doing the fucking exam.
Well, somebody needed a break. Anyway, Wizards and
with pain.
Wizards and Warlords I never really got into. I never really liked it, to be honest. So I know that you did like it.
It's got potential. I don't love it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you used to tell me that I had to play it.
It is really. I think you should. It's kind of halfway between like Dominions and Master of Magic.
Yeah, and I get the text side of it, but I just couldn't get into it, and so for me that's a tier too high. Yeah. Okay, then Shadows of Forbidden Gods. I agree with you. Good game, interesting mechanics, well done. I think it's the right tier for it. No,
it's not really a 4X, is it? But it's kind of on that. It scratches the itch.
Well, you're still moving around a map doing stuff. So yeah, I think it's fair enough. Polaris Sector, I enjoyed the Star Wars mod for that, which is great. Without that, it's a bit bland. So, but I agree with you. I think it's a solid game.
Yeah, good ideas.
Yes, yeah, and the new game that these same developers have got, like ICBM, is pretty cool as well. ICBM 2, I think, are up to now. It's actually surprisingly good, and I didn't want to play it because I don't like playing like super modern nuclear war type games. I just don't like playing them.
No, I find them a bit dark, man. Like I liked DEF CON. Do you remember that one by Introversion?
Oh, from years and years ago.
Yeah, the DEF CON had a bit of a tongue-in-cheek sort of vibe to it.
Yeah, I just don't like it. For me, I think
I find them a bit. If you grew up, so guys, if you grew up in the 80s or the 70s and 80s like me and Daz did, I was 80s, he was probably a bit earlier than me, but I was a kid in the 80s. The threat of nuclear war was like something that kept
everywhere.
you awake at night. If you're an anxious person like me, you know, like it doesn't matter where Daz lives because it's basically a nuclear wasteland anyway.
Hang on, I grew up on the only nuclear target in Australia. That's where I was born.
Yeah, basically. Like so, and you know what? If several nuclear weapons dropped on Australia, it would only improve the place.
Like the British did in the 1950s, of course. Anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah.
Touche.
We don't need.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That one's old one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a decent game, but do not play that now when you can play Elemental. Reforged. It's so much better.
Galactic Ruler, no idea. I can't remember that one.
Yeah, that's a weird one on the list, but yeah, if you've not played it, it's just I don't think you'd like it. I think it'd probably be a bit too fiddly for you.
I can't remember it. I may have played it. I just don't remember it. Okay.
It's Battle Goat, so you know that says it all. Really, they're a very niche kind of RTS grand strategy developer who do Supreme Ruler, and those games are Marmite. Like some people love them, some people really hate them. It's a very they're a very weird developer. Anyway, I like Galactic Ruler though. I think that's cool.
Yep. Okay, let's get into the fight. We've sparred. We've had a few jabs at each other, but this is. I'll just put on the list in through here. This is Ben's shit list, and this is where I've got a lot of problems with some of these. So
yeah, okay.
Let's get into it.
These are mediocre games. I still think they're good for some people. I just don't like them, basically, and I think the design is usually lacking in some way.
Okay, Endless Legend. I agree with you. I agree with you with that one. Okay, so that one I agree with. Stellaris, I enjoy. I haven't played a lot of it because I have other games that I enjoy more, but I think this deserves to be S tier. I'll just put that out there.
No.
A tier? Would you go to A? Would you go to A? the new one, the current one, the polished one.
I don't know because I haven't played it. Because Stellaris changes every time they do a DLC. Typical like Paradox. Every time they do a DLC, they change the base game to fit the new DLC mechanics, which basically means I guess they do this with Galciv a little bit as well, but it's more noticeable in Stellaris. I can't play Stellaris now because every time I come back to play it, I've got to relearn the bloody game again, and it's just not that good that I'm willing to do that. So the last time I really thoroughly played Stellaris was when Mega Corporations came out, I think, and I played it for a bit, and I kind of went through the same events for the first 20. I mean, the only reason why I've put Stellaris, I think it's a cruddy 4X game, I'll be honest. I think the design's kind of crap. The combat system, the war system, which is, I'm battle mode, right? I like war. War in Stellaris is not that fun. I think that its main draw now is that it's a really kind of immersive civilization building sort of grand strategy game. And once you get to the grand strategy part of it, it's quite good. Like
a really good 4X game.
It's not 4X. Well, it is, but
it is. I think
good 4X.
I think this is one of these games that you've got to pay homage to.
I agree. That's why that's why I put it in C tier.
Yeah.
I think it's and I said that this is partly, because I used to put that in D tier, man, along with Endless Legend. I don't like Amplitude stuff. I don't really like, Stellaris, but I've raised Endless Legend and Stellaris up because I acknowledge that there's elements of that game that are good. I think that, for example, Endless Legend's got decent game. It's half decent games design. I just don't think it's crunchy enough for me. But it's Rob loved that one. He thinks that's an S tier game.
Oh, I don't. I think Endless Legend is so boring. I've got to say,
Don't get it.
Amplitude. Just to talk about a little bit about the Amplitude games, and I know you've got a lot of them in your D tier. I agree with you 100%. I find they look great, but they're so shallow. And all of their games are so shallow. The best one of the whole lot is Endless Legend. All the others are just shit. Like it's they're just not good.
Do you agree, Daz? I'm interested to play Endless Legend 2 when it finally comes out of 1.0.
I want to give that a go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do actually have a lot of faith in Derek.
I do.
To be able to pull things off. And
how much control do you think he's been given on this project though?
Yeah,
because that's what I want to know.
Well, I don't know. Like he's certainly been front and center with the projects, and I haven't given it a solid go. So I am looking forward to playing Endless Legend 2. But I just the first time I played it, I didn't play it far enough, and I was also suspicious of it, and I think I've got to have to. I want to come back at that one again and have a good look at it because
I wouldn't touch it until 1.0. The reason is because I don't like Amplitude's games anyway. And I want them to put their best foot forward. So, and I'll be honest, just looking at the reception and player numbers, I'm a bit worried about Amplitude, man. Because you have to.
Let's just hang on. Let's just with Amplitude, their games always look good, and people enjoy playing them. And I think that's the graphic immersion of their games is solid. You've got to give them credit for that aspect of it. I just think that for you and me in particular, we actually like more depth to the actual gameplay. But I think a lot of more casual sort of gamers, and let's face it, most people are casual gamers. It's fine, like the experience they get, the bit of escapism. They don't have to there's nothing too tricky going on. It's pretty simple.
Age of Wonders.
Oh, get out of here! I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna.
That's not. No, I know it's
no. Hang on. You're gone. No, I'll bring you back. Yeah. You're banned. You're banished.
Ban me. Ban me from the DasTactic stream.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep on going because we're running out of time. Now, Space Tyrant. I agree with your positioning here. This is another one that was done by the guys that did AI War. That was theirs, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, wasn't it? I must be getting it wrong.
No. Let me just have a look, see who did this. I can't remember now. I can't remember them doing. You have like Space Tyrant. I haven't played that one much at all. Blue Wizard Digital. What else did they do? Oh, loads of other little mobile games.
Oh, okay. That's funny. I assumed because I know that Arkham Games did something similar, which was actually. Oh, it might be in one of your other lists about the Federation. Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Oh, yeah, Last Federation. That's Arkham. Yeah. That's quite an unusual game.
Yeah, that's a good game. So anyway, this one here, I agree with you. It's from what I remember of it. It was, it was nothing too much about it.
Mediocre game. Yeah.
Yep. So then we've got Age of Wonders 3 back in through here, just coming up. I've again really enjoyed this game. I
know you love this one. Yeah, I couldn't argue with you with this one. Really,
but I
know you loved it.
I would just raise that one level at this for now for today. I wouldn't want to play it again, to be honest. But I did really enjoy it. I found that I had to have this one modded to get the enjoyment factor. So I think it just has to.
Otis, he played this. He said this is his most played game on Steam. He's got 1,000 hours or something crazy in it, and and I
think it's for me. It is too.
I can see why people could get that into it. I could never finish games of it. Like I think I've only ever finished about 5 or 6 campaigns out of about 20, 25 attempts. So it's the same problem I got with Age of Wonders 4.
Yeah, no, that's for me. That was it was a good game, not a great game. And the modding made it a great game. it brought my hatred of halflings in.
Yeah.
So, Sorcerer King, I agree with you there. I found that a really bland game, more just focused around role play, which I wasn't really. I don't know. Could you call that a 4X? Don't know. It's sort of
kind of, but it's a 4X adjacent. I think a lot of people really don't like this game. I think it's unfairly maligned. Like Lucid doesn't like this one. I remember. I think that. I think the Sorcerer King, just like AI War's got that asymmetric thing going on, which is really kind of cool. I just think that I think the reason why I didn't do as well was because people wanted another, elemental game, and it's a game in the elemental universe. It's just not, it's not like that sandbox game that they wanted.
No, it wasn't
more focused.
It wasn't a strategy game. It was more of a role play game where you're developing characters.
No. It had the whole 4X thing, building cities, expanding.
Yeah, but not much.
It had a limit.
Not much.
It had a constraint on it. The game had a deliberate limitation, which was the Sorcerer King. I think it's actually an interesting game. I didn't really play it enough to really thoroughly test the design. So, but I liked what I played of it. I think it's, I think Stardock did try to do something different. Kind of got punished for it, which is a shame because at least it's different. It's more original than half the games on the bloody list. It's just wasn't, what people wanted, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Beyond Earth, like Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth. This was compared to the original game. Like this was really quite a letdown. I think.
Original.
Like
original
the where have you got it up through here? Alpha Centauri.
No. It's nothing to do with Alpha Centauri. This is okay, right? So this is I think people mistook this for an Alpha Centauri game, and this is Firaxis's fault. They kind of hyped it as being some kind of like
I thought it was Alpha Centauri too.
No. It is to Sid Meier's. Sid Meier's Beyond Earth is to Alpha Centauri what a modern Marvel movie is to the old ones. Basically, yeah. It's wearing the skin suit of Alpha Centauri. Like, it's a character based 4X because it's got characters in it. No, they had no personality. What's good about that game though is actually mechanically it's a decent game. It's actually quite a good game. I think
I don't remember playing it much, to be honest. I remember I probably bounced off it.
No, it's good. It's a good game. That is. It's just not. It wasn't Alpha Centauri. So again, people were expecting that because they made the mistake of hyping it as being some kind of Alpha Centauri killer, and it's not even a half of that game really.
Yeah,
But for what it is, it's decent.
Okay, next one we've got is Dune Spice Wars. I like this game. I know you said you didn't like it. I think that you rated it higher than your like of the game. Because of what it is.
Got great ideas in.
Yeah, but whereas for me, I actually like the game probably more than where I think it deserves to be, if you know what I mean. So I'm happy with where you've put the game. I don't think it should be any higher than that, but I do actually really quite like it. So so that one I thought was actually an interesting one. It's funny because when I was looking at this list, I was actually thinking, you didn't put Dune Imperium in, but that's a board game. That's not a 4X.
Yeah, and I love that game.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's an incredible game. That would be S tier. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go, Ben.
Masterpiece, maybe.
Here we go. Yes, this is definitely a masterpiece.
Look at that angry face on there.
Yeah, angry face. This is my one reaction. So this is it, guys. We're running out of time, unfortunately, but we can sort of rattle through the games after this, I guess. I think that this is first of all, it's my favourite game of all time. So I'll just put that out there. So please don't be too, be more protective of my feelings, please, Battlemode. I'm a bit sensitive about this game. I've got a lot of emotional, attachment to it. It's I think it should definitely be considered a masterpiece. Should definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And my reaction to what you said about it, as I said to you, I actually messaged Ben when I was watching it, said, "You're giving me a heart attack with the things he was saying." So now, actually, one thing I would think would be interesting, I would, if guys in the chat don't mind, I would love you to rate between 1 and 5, whether with 1 being love the game and agree with me, and 5 being really either bored with the game or just don't rate it, sort of more on Ben's mode. Let's just see where you sort of fall, like from between 1 and 5, where you sort of rate it. That would be a fun thing, but we'll discuss it.
Before we do, just remember there was a time when people thought, and this was the scientific consensus, that the sun revolved around the earth. So I don't put any stock in popularity, because it's quite easy to make a game look cool and and top load it with interesting surface level crap, and for the actual game to be kind of bad, right? So go ahead.
The reason I wanted to do it is because I know there's a lot of people that watch my channel that agree with you 100%. Like, I know that. And so I thought this would be, and you can see there in the numbers on that are coming through, there's actually a lot of people who actually don't rate this game very highly at all. So I wasn't doing that. Yeah, a lot of fan offence, but it was one of these things where I knew that the numbers would actually probably more favour what you're doing. So I wasn't doing that to score a point, if anything.
I'm surprised to hear that. I would have thought that I would be in the mind, because I get so much pushback over Age of Wonders, man. Maybe it's because I'm a battle mode, right? I sort of my vision filters in the combative comments a little bit more, because I do get a lot of supporting comments going, yeah, I agree with you. I think that Age of Wonders is an overrated game, but I think that I would have thought. I mean, look at the sales, and it gets regular view. It gets a lot of play. So it's definitely one of the more popular 4X games around at the moment. There's no doubt about that.
It's funny because
the sales.
When I do live streams on it on YouTube, I get very, very small views on it. So that's also why I sort of knew, okay, this is not a popular game.
I'm surprised at that though, because I would have thought, I mean, maybe it's people who are too busy playing it.
No, I don't think so.
That's one thing.
Yeah, it's a popular game, very popular game. So. Tenry saying, I disagree with both of you on the tier. Age of Wonders 4 belongs one tier down in the D. With Solaris. I know, look, Tenru I know hates the game, and that's fair enough. I don't mind. but anyway, we're gonna. You said some things about why you don't like the game, and I thought that maybe we can have a bit of a discussion about why. I guess. A bit like what we did with Deity Empires as well, like just sort of going through some of the things that, because like the thing that I think struck me, and you're not wrong, but you are wrong in one sense, in my opinion, which is where you said that the game has become because they've boosted the hit points to a degree where it just becomes a bit of a slugfest, and it's a time waster when you go into tactical combat. And that, did you remember saying that in your video? Like that.
I do. Can I back it up a little bit, just to elaborate?
Yeah.
So the issue with Age of Wonders there is that the game, like with the Theodore Genesis, Fantasy 4X are fundamentally underpinned by their combat system, right?
Yes.
But the kind of current meta in Age of Wonders, whether you play Age of Wonders 4, whether you play in multiplayer or whether you play in single player, is to auto-resolve most of the battles. So that is the biggest damnation on the game that I can think of, because if you're encouraged to auto-resolve the battles and only really, play out the ones where you're really trying to squeeze out some optimal, like an optimal result on the ones that you really have to. I'm not saying everyone plays that. And by the way, I'm going to get loads of pushback for saying this, but I did a lot of research on this, and I collated all the game reviews, and I ran them through an AI to kind of like to filter out stuff that wasn't relevant. And I looked at it all, and I was just like, there's a lot of people who agree with me on this, that the meta is, for most people, not like you, Daz, because you don't play it like this. You don't tend to auto-resolve a whole lot from what I remember, but a lot of people really auto-resolve this game. So if you're auto-resolving your main gameplay element.
But that's if I can just put a point in here. Distant Worlds 2, people play the Distant Worlds 2 the same way. We're not auto resolving, but they don't finesse their combat. I notice that whenever I watch people play it online, they play it at 4 times speed, which is the game is not really meant to be played that fast.
Can't play it like that.
And they just chuck fleets at stuff. That's not, you lose all the immersion. And so so to put your point into perspective, I do get what you're saying. You do lose, like if you're playing the game, like I guess I like that you've got the choice to play it the way that you want to play it. And I would even, and again going back to Age of Wonders, and I'm sorry, I'll let you finish off your point, but I do think that the strategy mode of the game is solid enough to play with auto battles on. Like I don't have a problem with that.
I think that's the best part of the game.
See, I think tactical battles are the best part, but the strategic layer is very, very good.
So I feel the other way around. I think that the strategic layer that they've added to the game is better if you want to try to make it fit into the 4X category. And there are elements of the game, like I gave the game credit, like I think Triumph have done a great job with the region-based system tied to diplomacy. That makes the diplomacy really meaningful. The problem is the AI can't play the game, and so the AI is really not that good. And even raising the difficulty on the game doesn't make the game much better.
No, I agree with you.
The stakes become higher when you play it on brutal. So the stakes of the early game battles are higher. It doesn't increase the headspace of the game that you're playing. Do you know what I mean? So like it doesn't.
If I can talk to that point, I agree with you about the difficulty. Difficulty not being the best way to play the game. The way I think that if you are wanting to ramp up the difficulty, don't play don't just ramp up the difficulty, because then it just becomes an exercise in frustration. So because you end up just basically needing to build up so much before you can go and fight that you do nothing for half the game. The way that you manipulate difficulty is through teams play, and have multiple AIs against you. That's the easiest, the best way I think to actually get the best out of difficulty in the game.
Okay. I'm going to give you another example of why I think Age of Wonders combat system is not good. And it's because it uses this kind of modern design paradigm, which I call number wank game design. And actually, the sort of technical term for it is inert state systems. So what that means is, in an older game like Eodor, Master of Magic, Dominions, that kind of thing, they have more statistics that are mechanics that players can interact with, that also interact with one another. They touch one another, and that allows the player to learn those systems. And it's a little bit more complex because, like Master of Magic, right, you got to read a manual to know how the combat works in that. But as a result, the game reads like a grammar. Okay, you have this grammar within which you can use to apply to game situations and be able to read them relatively quickly once you've learned it. They've figured, Triumph and other modern developers have realized that the initial learning curve of having multiple systems, like for example in Eodor, right, a unit will have not only melee defense, like a defense stat that will reduce incoming damage, let's say, but they'll also have a range defense. Now, these, not only have you now got two systems, rather than just a flag like you've got in Age of Wonders 4, which says, you've just got one defense stat, and then you've got resistance for magic, right? And then, which is basically just, magic flavored normal defense. And then you've got this flag, like an inert state flag that's on or off that says is good against, range damage. The problem is with having a system of all these flags, which is basically what they've done with Age of Wonders 4, is that it's really hard to read, because in order to facilitate players not being frustrated when they come up against the flying unit, and the flying unit can't be killed by unless you've got an archer or a web spell or something. I'm talking about Master of Magic now. And then they bounce off the game, and then they go and refund the game because they're like, oh, the game's too hard. So what they've done is they've removed all the spiky edges, all the really interesting reactive state system design that we get with really good classic Fantasy 4X games, where you have to learn the systems, and they've replaced it with this flag system of, this one's got fire damage, this one's got, this one does fire resistance, this is +5 shadow damage, +5 shadow. It's really, really boring, and you don't get emergent gameplay. I'm going to give you one example just so that you can understand this. Let's talk, and this also plays into my point about power fantasy. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone with this one example. Think about Dominions, and you've got a battle in Dominions, right? And you've got a mage, and the mage casts a fireball spell. And so it casts a unit of enemy, a unit of soldiers, and you watch this fireball come in, right? And then there's a half dozen dice rolls, maybe a dozen, that go into whether this thing is on target, whether it lands in the right place, whether the people it hits are, ignited, they go on fire, whether they're immediately incinerated, whether they fail a morale check and run, whether they continue, they shrug it off, continue to fight. Maybe it misses, only damages half of the people with its splash damage. There is real depth in this system, and that means that it cascades down, right? So, okay, well, because there's all these variables at play, we now have to consider, where do we place the mage? Do I cast it at round 1 or round 2? There's all this, the gameplay cascades out in a telescopic fashion from that one, kind of set of systems that they've created.
If I can just butt in there, for me, you're just yeah, okay, I'll let you finish.
Let me just finish my point. Sorry. So in Age of Wonders, the equivalent is a fireball, which is it drops a fireball on a couple of squares or tiles, and it will hit like one or more. It always does pretty much the same amount of damage. It's whatever it is, like 33 to 66% of damage it will do. It's predictable, and it always does the same thing. So you don't have any emergent gameplay from this situation whatsoever. So it immediately makes the game this inert state system means that they cannot take any risks. Do you remember Crack's Call, that spell in Master of Magic? Yeah. That's a 50-50 kill shot, yeah? And the reason why, and that's really frustrating if you put it in Age of Wonders. Like my friend Pengo Paddy the other day said, there was this spell in Age of Wonders 3 called Berserk or something, where it was kind of like an instant kill spell, and people really hated it because it was so powerful. But that was because Age of Wonders games have this inert state system where the gameplay is very within safe limits, and they don't like anything that's going to kill units in one go or whatever. And so a spell like that actually stands out. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and it feels unfair.
But this is
a call, however.
Hang on,
Master of Magic. That makes sense. Sorry, I've got to finish my point. That makes sense because Master of Magic has got the reactive state system that allows that kind of spell to be in there and to have a purpose for the game's design. So that's so you get the point. These reactive state systems have many more it just generates more fun gameplay. And there's a point I want to make about power.
Just one point at a time, because what you've just described to me about what you like about Dominions is Age of Wonders 4. All the things that you said about this stuff all come down to, it sounds like you really just want RNG in your combat.
No, it's not just RNG.
Hang on, let me finish.
Now this, we're getting spicy.
This is because I couldn't disagree with you more about what you just said about what you like about Dominions and what you don't like about Age of Wonders 4. I find the systems are different. You do have more RNG in Dominions. In Age of Wonders 4, you need to actually figure out the best way to actually construct your combat, your positioning of your elements, the spells you're going to be using, how you develop those spells, so that you can minimize the 2-hit factor, which is the only random bit in the game. Actually, there's a bit of randomness as well. If you get a critical hit, you get extra damage. So if you can maximize those aspects through your tactical abilities in the game, it's the most tactical game that you can play. Like the tactics in Age of Wonders 4, there's nothing that comes close to it in terms of being able. It's like playing chess, but on an elevated level with a random positioning, random or different types of units every single time you play it. It's so engaging because if you do a fire spell, it's going to do a certain amount of damage. Yes, the unit that you're actually going to target, some of them will have resistance against fire, and so they won't be as effective against them. If you then use other, and so you have to make a decision at the start of the game which direction you're going to go. You're going to go frost or fire type things. So like that's often a pretty typical sort of thing you have to decide on, because if you go frost and then bring in fire mages, you're going to find that the frost mages will actually be able to freeze units. The fire mages will then thaw the freezing. So you've got to be very careful about how you construct your army. They need to be cohesive. You have to have combined arms. And this is the Age of Wonders 4 has done this brilliantly. Like it's more so than any other game.
Great point.
Yep.
I agree with you. What I would say is the reason why that works. So the reason why Age of Wonders works so well as in auto battle is because really the battles are kind of solved, and so they're won or lost on the composition level. really, on army composition. That's where the complexity of the game comes in, and that's why it's so possible to play the game fairly optimally with you know, optimally, but you know, you can auto resolve many of the battles, because really the depth of the game, the complexity of the game, within that system that they've created, is very much something that is done at the composition level.
It's not simple though. It's not simple.
But it's a solvable problem though, because every battle is pretty solvable once you understand the mechanics, and you've gotten over that readability issue where you've got to read 500 bloody tags, you know, because you don't have this, you know, gorgeous system that the older games have where you learn this grammar of the game mechanics. And I
couldn't disagree with you more. But Ben, again, you're so far off beam with this. Far off beam.
You have to agree though that when you've got a system like Age of Wonders, so here's the issue with Age of Wonders.
I still didn't finish my point.
I've talked. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, because you've now hijacked the point I was making to make a so-called short point.
I'm sorry. I've had too much coffee and I'm getting excited. Please go ahead.
So, like, I want to defend what you said about that. You're basically sort of saying that it didn't matter about placement, it didn't matter about the units that you had, it didn't matter about anything because there was nothing at stake with RNG. The sort of take I took on what you had said.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're taking the RNG thing too seriously.
But you mentioned Crack's Call as an example of something that was done well, I think they've gotten rid of all that out of the game, which is great. Like they've gotten rid of all the RNG side of things is gone. So.
Yeah, you've taken. It's not the RNG that I'm making the point about. It's the state. It's the reactive state versus inert state system. The more in-depth grammar-based gameplay against having to imagine, like we're talking about in linguistic terms. Imagine Age of Wonders 4 is like a phrase book, yeah, rather than a grammar. You don't learn the systems. You have to look at every single individual unit to see what tag it's got. This one's got fire damage. This one's got fire defense. You have to. And this was a problem that they Triumph talked about this. Geordie will actively. I can screenshot him saying this. They thought that the players felt that the mod system in Planetfall was too difficult to read. It was laborious to read because you had to go through.
And the mod systems are a different thing.
But they've not fixed it. It's the same issue. They've still got it. The problem is because the complexity in the combat system doesn't come from the statistics. It comes from the tags they've added because they've removed all the complexity out of the game. Like, okay, I'll give you the example again of the Eardor Genesis. Eardor Genesis has melee. A unit will have melee defense and it has ranged defense, right? And it's got ranged attack and melee.
You're just talking about different systems. Okay. You're not talking about Age of Wonders 4 is so much more nuanced than what you're saying.
This is so much more nuanced to understand because I want you to understand the difference between the two systems that the games use, right? So in Eardor Genesis, if you understand that you've got every single unit can be good against certain, it might be good in range defense, but it's got crappy melee defense. Whereas in Age of Wonders, they've got the same defense, but they've got a tag. This is what we call number one games design. What they do is, instead of having this system where, like, for example, let's use Dominion as an example. If we want to increase the accuracy of the unit, we cast Wind Guide or whatever. So you've got the ability to boost their, the unit's ability to hit, or you can boost their ability to penetrate. You can boost the ability of an enemy to deflect incoming arrows. There is more complexity in gameplay in those older systems, but the way that Age of Wonders plays it differently, it goes, okay, we still want the same kind of effect. Like we want some units that are better in defending against arrows. Instead of having this system that simulates that and creates more gameplay around that, the players can get into like crunchy gameplay. They just go, okay, this one's got 15% melee. 15% damage reduction against missiles. This is a really lazy crap way of doing things because all it does is it basically means that unit, it behaves exactly the same no matter what you do, except it's just got a slight damage reduction against a certain type of damage. That's why I call it number wang. It's like, the gang. That's number wang. 10, 15, 20.
It is, but it's how you then apply that in the combat. The classic example is who do you target first? Like when you actually are going through. Like the thing I love about Age of Wonders 4, which most other games aren't able to do, is that a shield unit, for example, it's got very, very low hit hit abilities, but it's got very, very high defense. And so using them to protect areas, to protect choke points in a combat is you have to use them that way. You're not going to do the kills that way. But then on the enemy side, like who do you go after? Do you go after the high level guys that are going to be really hard to hit, and you're going to take multiple turns to get rid of them, or do you start to just whittle away at like archer units and things like this? So you've got to make a lot of strategic choice. And if you just rely on auto resolve, it does, like, the game plays very, very well. The AI in Age of Wonders is extremely good. And so if you do auto resolve, more often than not, it's going to do better than a normal person, I think. So that's one reason to do the auto resolve. You can also learn how to play the game by auto resolving and then watching the combat. But if you get good at the game, you can get better results than the AI will get, because you will play more defensively in certain positions. You will take risk in other areas. The AI tends to be more risk taking than I am, for example. And I know that it will find exploits that I won't see in terms of the combat, which I think is what you're sort of talking a little bit about. Is you've got to understand what the units will do. See, I think they've solved that in Age of Wonders 4 because they don't have.
Game AI is good for
hang on. They don't. Let me finish. I
was supporting your point. I was just thinking, actually, you're right that the tactical combat AI is good.
It's incredible, and it's better and better.
I'll never deny that.
But the other thing with it too is that they've actually, like in Age of Wonders 1, 2, actually maybe 2 and 3 in particular, you ended up having a situation where you could end up with I think 2 had stacks of 8. So you had 8, and then you could have actually combat that was actually where you had like one stack going up against 7 other stacks, or 8 other stacks. Ultimately, you could actually go and play monstrous battles, which would take hours and hours to play out. What they've done by only allowing 3 armies in with 6 units is you've really finessed the actual units that you're playing. So in terms of you having complex units, you do end up with some complex units, but they're level 1 and 2 units, which you can just look and see that's a shield unit. I know what it does. If it's level 1 or 2, I know there's nothing special about it. It just protects. If it's a range unit and it's 1 or 2, it's not going to do anything special with the archery, but it's going to be still a solid unit. And with the level up system that they've got, it will have more survivability the longer it's actually around. It's when you get to tier 3 and above that you do then have to learn the nuance of those units, but you don't have to learn that many of them because there's not that many units in battle, and you tend to use the same units from battle to battle. So I know that when I go into start a battle, I look at all the tier 1s and 2s and just think, yep, I know what all of those do. And I then look at the tier 3s and 4s and I just hover over what's their special ability. And I learn that very, very quickly. And it's really... It's something. Sorry, hang on. I'm not finished yet. I'll let you finish. As somebody who actually enjoys tactical combat, this is the best tactical combat of any game. Like, there's no other game that comes close to it. I don't think it's fair to compare it with auto battlers like Dominions. Dominions does a great job of what it does. I think that you're not comparing apples with apples when you do that.
I'll use the Genesis then. I'll compare it to Eodor Genesis, and that is apples and apples.
Well, not really, because it's simple. It's simple units. Eodor Genesis is simple units with a commander.
What?
Well, you've only got the different. There's not that many different types of units in Eodor Genesis. It's the combat system is simple. It's fast.
Exactly. Okay. Right.
So it's actually it's a fast system.
Sorry.
But it's an easy system to get into. Let's just face it, the combat in
you're thinking about the Eodor units in terms of types, and this is the issue.
No, the combat. Ben. The combat in Eodor Genesis. How many minutes does it take to do combat in Eodor Genesis typically?
It's a lot faster than Age of Wonders.
Exactly.
It's more to the point.
It takes no time at all. I would say that you would be better off comparing Eodor Genesis and Elemental. Compare those two with the tactical combat. Tactical combat. So, talking about tactical combat.
Okay, so sorry. So anyway, let me answer a couple of points you've made. So the fact that you look at Eodor Genesis and you say that there are not enough unit types is because you're thinking about things in the phrasebook phase. Yeah, you're thinking about things like a phrasebook. What phrase is this particular element of of the combat? What does the goblin do? Well, that's a spearman. That's for defense. That's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of mindset that Age of Wonders inflicts on you because it boils everything down into flags. This defends well against this. This does this. Whereas the older games like Eodor Genesis, where they provide more fleshed out mechanics and more mechanics for each unit, you actually end up with you can't just put them into a box like this one's a spearman, this one's, there are spearmen, but there are different types of spearmen.
And they level up. They have their own level ups. And you choose what the level ups are going to be. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, okay. What I'm trying to explain to you is that it's the system that underpins the combat is more complex. They stripped out that complexity in Age of Wonders to make it easier to understand, and then realized that they'd stripped. No, they did, and then they did because why is it the Master of Magic, which is kind of what Age of Wonders is based on, has a more complex under the surface combat system, at least in the way that the battle
I can't believe you think that Age of Wonders isn't complex.
Because I'm trying to explain to you they've done is they've got this very safe system of deterministic, safe, understandable, like supposedly readable combat, but they've actually backfired on themselves because you now have to read 2,000 tags potentially, and like this is why they didn't. Let me explain to you something.
They've simplified certain things, and they've actually gotten rid of RNG from certain things. So the two hit is still the same thing, and you've got control over how you tackle that. You've got strategic choice.
Sorry, Daz. The reason why they removed the mod system from Age of Wonders Planetfall is because players found it hard to read, and it's true. You had to look at every single
unit,
single game, at every battle, and it became difficult because everything was surprising because you had the mods and you had all these abilities and then level up. So it's confusing, right? Yeah. Because all this is statistics. It is flags. It's like this one's got fire damage, this one's got the shadow damage, this one's got shadow resistance, this one's got the ability that makes it jump, this has got the ability that means it defends better, but you have to learn all of these different things. It's a phrase book compared to a grammar. And if you think about the grammar of the older games, they take a little learning, and they take you lose the game a few more times learning a grammar, but then most people are able to quickly analyze a tactical situation in a game like Eodor, and that is why the battles take faster in Eodor. You don't have to keep looking through every unit to figure out.
It's a simpler system. It's a simple system.
Age of Wonders is a simpler system.
No, Eodor is a simpler system.
No, hang on. Okay, so let me make my point about Age of Wonders 4. So Triumph decided in their infinite wisdom to remove the mod system because it was too complex. They also removed a staple of Fantasy 4X, which is the global enchantment. They made unit enchantments, individual unit enchantments. There was too much micromanagement in that, and it was too hard to read. So what they did is they give it this global enchantment now. You still got to go through every single unit in an Age of Wonders battle to see what it's got. It's not changed. They didn't fix the problem because the problem isn't the mod system. The problem is the inert state system, the number one games design. That is the problem. It's not readable. You've also got what Lucid calls the level 40 wolf issue, which is where a basic spearman in Age of Wonders can potentially kill a hero. So it's really hard to read the game because it's like, hang on, is this basic wolf going to kill a giant? Possibly. That's certainly possible in that game. And
I don't know where you like. It sounds like you're describing a different game.
But it makes the game difficult to read. So the game is already difficult to read, and
it's a complex game. It's a complex game.
Okay. So now we talk about the power fantasy, because this is the one argument that I think people who do defend Age of Wonders well will come out with, and they'll say the thing is. In fact, Geordie from the community manager said this, that they were aiming the game not at hardcore strategy gamers like me and more at a casual audience. And the reason is because they want more sales. That's fine. As somebody who works in marketing, I totally get it. It would be stupid financial, like you would be an idiot to make a game that kind of appealed to 100 grognard, hardcore strategy critics than to sell to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. It would be bad business sense. But the problem is I'm a critic, so when I'm looking at these games, I try to look at it in terms of the quality of the design. So the fantasy is something that often people will say, well, like I know the guys from Triumph definitely wanted the game to be more of a fantasy. I pulled up a quote from them somewhere. I can come up I can get if you want. But they basically said that it was more about an RPG experience where they wanted players to be able to experience the fantasy of having whatever race they wanted and the spellbook build. And as a result, they have to make all those builds potentially viable. Now, I don't think that all builds should be viable in a game. I think you should have bad builds and good builds. And the argument for that, for the reduction in the complexity of the game in order to make it more appealing for more people, is so that the fantasy, that sells their fantasy. But the power fantasy of being a great wizard is watching, your fireball obliterate a whole bunch of units in a single shot. That's why Dominions work. That's why Eodor works, because you'll see a spell at the start of Eodor and it will obliterate an enemy unit.
But I think you're describing. Okay, can you argue? Hang on, Ben. Can you argue your point with chess?
Sorry, I'm not. Hang on. Let me just make the point.
Yeah, but I think that Age of Wonders. Hang on, Ben.
An enemy unit.
Ben, you've had a good run. You've had a good run. Just make me one point.
Finish my point though.
Just make me one. No, you're saying the same thing over and over and over.
I'm not. I've not finished.
Age of Wonders is so tactical, it is like playing chess. If you describe your problems with chess versus Dominions or versus Eodor, you got the same argument. Like you're saying the same thing. It's
You didn't listen to my point though. So can I just finish my point about the power fantasy? Sorry. So okay, the one argument against
maybe I'm not understanding what you're getting at.
Okay, I'll get to the point then. Okay, I'll get to my point.
Because you spoke about RPG, and that's a different. That's a completely different area of the game. If we're talking purely about stick to tactical.
Let me talk about tactical. I'm sticking to. Okay, right. No, so I'm making my point about the power fantasy because it ties into what I was saying, right?
And what do you mean by? Can you define power fantasy? Because I've got no idea what you mean.
Okay, so players feel powerful and they get joy from seeing stuff being, they cast a spell on a unit, they see it explode, they get pleasure out of it, right?
Yeah.
So the reason, let me follow. I'll talk about logically if you're not following me. The reason why Triumph, and this is in their own words, why they reduced the overall complexity of the game and made it easier for casual players to understand, was to facilitate the fantasy of allowing them to be this powerful wizard or this great warrior or whatever in an RPG kind of way. But power fantasy actually it revolves around contrast, right? In order to feel the power of a spell, you need to see the contrast between the unit standing there and it being obliterated by a fireball. Or imagine the death spell in Conquest of Elysium where it just obliterates 40 units in a single cast, right? That is power. That's I feel like full Doom from.
But you're not comparing apples and apples.
That is power.
But you're not comparing apples and apples. You're comparing completely different games.
Please let me finish my point quickly because I'm almost finished. I'm nearly there. Just wait 1 second, right? So if they reduce the complexity of the strategy game in order to facilitate the fantasy of the players, the player fantasy, and yet they have failed because the game system has to be so tame and unadventurous and safe that they don't dare to even allow you to kill a single unit with an early game spell, it's a failure. So this is why Age of Wonders design works against itself. I agree with you, Daz, that within the safe, lame and constrained system that they created in the tactical combat, there is much strategic decision making to be made. The problem is because there's very little variance in the way, partly because of they've removed RNG mostly, and partly because of the inert state system that doesn't encourage exploration or any kind of emergent gameplay. That there's actually not that much variation in how battles play out, and that it becomes a quickly solved system by min-maxer players, and you'll see this. If you look at the main criticisms from veterans of Age of Wonders, they say that the game, while it has got decent gameplay within the system that they've got, it's actually a solved system, so you can pretty much figure out the optimal strategy quite easily, and that's a real bad problem with deterministic game systems. And by the way, Gladius doesn't have that problem because the game system has got more depth within the basic things like an attack. There are more like elements at play within an attack in Gladius than there are in Age of Wonders 4, because
I couldn't disagree with you more.
Inert state system.
What do you mean by inert state system?
Well, let's see what. Okay, all right. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but can you explain? Like, you keep on using this jargon, which isn't resonating with me at all. Like, inert state system.
Okay,
what's that?
So remember, I gave you the example of Eodor, where I just take it from a game that's similar to Age of Wonders, right?
It's not similar.
It is similar.
No,
it is similar. Okay, it's still a tactical combat battle within a greater 4X game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, I would say that's so much similar to like you said that you don't think that Elemental is comparable to Age of Wonders, and I agree with you that
it is.
I don't think Eodor is either. I don't think it's. I think they're completely different games.
Okay, so I'm using Eodor as the pinnacle of the genre, in my opinion, because the tactical combat system is absolutely magnificent. And the reason is because even within let's look at the action of attacking something, right? The action of attacking something, one unit between another, there is variance in that what can happen, not only just because of the RNG, but because there are 4 or 5 distant systems that come together in order to make that attack happen. Range, like let's say you're firing an arrow, you've got the ranged attack value of the unit that's firing. You've got the ranged defense value of a unit that's receiving it. So if you've got any two different units that are switched out, so you fire that same arrow at different units, they're going to behave differently, right? There's going to be more variation. You've got spells that can affect those 4 different or 5 different systems that take part in that single one attack. You don't get that in Age of Wonders because they've replaced, all these different contributing mechanics that go into that one attack with what is called an inert state system. It's either on or off. It's, this is a tag that gives you 15% ranged damage mitigation. So it's just a numeric modifier instead of a new, an additional system that the player can get crunchy with and make, cast spells on, for example, or add items to deal with. What Age of Wonders does instead, it just gives you these like a billion flags, basically. If you imagine it in a piece of code, you've got your hero and it's got a flag and it says, is it fire resistant? Yes. How much fire resistance? 15%. Is it got shadow damage? Yep, it's got that. Instead of having a much more crunchy system that the player can actually experience that creates emergent gameplay. Do you follow me?
I don't agree with you even slightly.
You don't? Do you follow me though? Do you follow?
I get what you're saying, but I just don't think I'm looking for much more puzzle aspect to the game in the tactical combat than what you're describing. It sounds, like so. Whenever I play Eodor, for me, for example, it's about not letting certain units get within a certain range. Like that's an important part of it, which for me is really superficial. In Age of Wonders, you've got the same sort of aspect about it, but you then have, like, for me, there's so much more at stake in Age of Wonders with the way it does it. But anyway, we should probably move on because we've only spoken about one point, and I don't know if you've got other, I think we've belabored this.
I've got one more point to elaborate my opinion very quickly, Daz, that you might be able to.
I don't think I'll ever agree with you, and I don't think you'll ever agree with me.
No, I'm not asking you to agree with me, but I'm trying because I want you to sort of understand the argument. So look at how morale works in Eodor. Morale is something you can attack an enemy with, and you can force them to route off the map as a prime strategy, not as a consequence.
And same with Age of Wonders 4 does the same thing. Then it does the same thing.
It hasn't.
It does.
It promises the same thing.
No, it does.
So how do you? Okay, I'm going to tell you how it works. I know. In Age of Wonders, you need to get to minus 60 morale in order to force a unit to route off the map. Now, in a game where you've only got about 12, let's say you start with just normal morale, you need to kill, I think it's about 6 or 7 units in order to be able to cause any chance of a normal unit to route off the map. Up until that point, all it's doing is making it slightly less chance to hit.
So you want the morale to instantly hit. You've got spells that do it. Not instantly. No. Okay, because I don't think it should instantly do it. But hang on, just let me do this. Hang on, Ben. Let me address this. Let me address your point, because you just made a point about the difference where you're saying Age of Wonders is all about.
I didn't quite
reducing
finish the point, which was that the point of the morale the actual morale effect, the routing effect of the morale system in Age of Wonders 4 is so safe and with guardrails on that it's really rare for you to actually see an army run off the field. You have to build for it specifically. It is not a consequence. It's not something like, okay, this is what I'm trying to say. The game is won or lost in the army composition and the spellbook choices. When you actually get into a battle, there's rarely a chance where you can see, oh, hang on a minute, that guy looks like he's got less morale. If I do a bit of a morale play here now, half his flank's going to run. You can do that in Eodor Genesis, you can do that in Dominions, and you can do it in Master of Magic.
And you can do it in Age of Wonders. And you can do it in Age of Wonders. Yes, you can.
No, okay. By the time you've killed enough units, by the time
you don't have to kill units to do it.
-60.
When was the last time you played Age of Wonders?
You have to build it. I've told you. This is what I'm saying. That you have to.
But when did you play it last? Because it sounds like you're describing like the game is like the morale system is. You're describing. You're not describing Age of Wonders.
It does without using a spell, yeah, or without
building. But hang on, Ben. You've just argued that you can build in Dominions a certain way to attack morale. You can do the same thing in Age of Wonders. No, that's not the point I made. I said within a single battle, within a battle in Eodor, you can pivot and change your tactics and exploit a vulnerability because the game system is quite complex and there are many variables. But in Age of Wonders, in order to make a morale play work, you've got to get the spells that allow you to do it. Because in order to be able to get something to morale... No, hang on, I'm not finished. So in order to be able to get something to route off the map, you have to kill nearly as many units as the game actually allows you to have on the tactical battlefield. This is a known problem, and if you go and Google it, you'll find this issue. It's a problem that people complain about. You have to... People complain about all sorts of things with games.
Wonders are the morale system, which is something that is a dynamic thing on a single battle in a real Fantasy 4X game, is something you cannot exploit like on the fly in Age of Wonders. You have to build to exploit it, and that becomes your optimal strategy. It's a really dumb games design because it doesn't allow you to pivot and exploit the variance in what happens.
You're not describing Age of Wonders. You're actually not describing Age of Wonders. You're not at all.
Okay, how does morale work then in Age of Wonders?
In a superficial sense, there's different morale checks that happen per unit, and some of them happen with proximity as well. So if you kill a unit, that globally affects all the units. So that's what you're describing as the way to change morale. But there's other things as well. There's actually auras that different units can actually have as you level them up. There's all sorts of different things. As a unit starts to take morale hits, their chance of getting a critical hit reduces, and the chance of fumbling increases. So that's a bit of RNG. So as you reduce morale through whatever means, whether it be spells, combat, whatever it might be, even if you do if you can increase the critical hit chance of your units, every time you do a hit on a unit, that unit as a critical hit will take a morale hit. And then you've also got buffs that you can then put into your units to actually allow them to be more resistant to morale. For example, like I think the undead type units are more resistant to morale hits, but you can still actually whittle them down. So you've got all this nuance about how you can approach a battle in terms, if you can even get units to start to fumble, your survivability then goes way, way up. Even before they don't have to rout. You can
no, that's the problem. It's not lethal. It's a non-lethal combat system.
No, but it still gets them to run. And so, what you've described,
rare, though,
you've described a binary system in the game that you say is a problem because it takes too much of attack before you can actually get them to run. That's completely inaccurate. I can tell you that it's completely inaccurate.
I've never seen I've never seen like a flank on of units in.
Yeah, not in because it's a different system than Dominions. Dominions Dominions you play the game with morale as being a major factor. With Age of Wonders,
in Age of Wonders,
because it's a different game. It's not part of the game. Because it's not Dominions. It's Age of Wonders.
I know.
And Age of Wonders does have it. It just has it within its own balance, and you can still actually target that. But you just do it in a different way. So this is not actually something that is like Dominions, yes, it's a major function of the game. Like because it's the way that you win battles. It's more realistic. Let's just put it that way. It's more historically realistic. So Dominions, in that sense, is structured that way. Age of Wonders isn't. Age of Wonders has got the morale system, but the Age of Wonders the morale system in that is not the focus of the game, but it's still there.
No, because the morale system in Age of Wonders is more of the same. It basically just reduces your chance to hit. It's another numeric modifier at the end of the day, and it is. And you're right.
And you then have to work within that. But every game is making the best of units and building units up over time to actually be able to exploit weaknesses in the opposition. You can actually, if you see an army coming to you that you know is strong in certain things, you can actually then build up defences against that as well. I mean, all games sort of do that. Age of Wonders just does it as well. In terms of for example, Panzer Court 2, I love that they've got a slider that actually goes and changes the RNG aspect. And I think that the 50-50 is actually a sweet spot. Age of Wonders just means that they've actually pulled that slider down to have less RNG, except for missile attacks typically and melee attacks. Missile and any sort of ranged attacks. And so even that, you've still got to try to figure out a way to actually make that work, and you do that through terrain. You do it through actually using units that can actually help bring the evasion count down. You have other units that can actually raise the evasion count. I just think Age of Wonders is just the perfect tactical game.
Okay, so just to answer that one point, do you know why it is that they removed the RNG?
No, they didn't remove it.
Do you know why?
But
they did. Well, mostly. I mean, there is a little RNG, but it's for the most part.
Okay, well, let me answer this one, because they introduced halflings in Age of Wonders 3, and halflings had a luck mechanic which changed the RNG to a 50-50 coin toss for anything that happened. It was shit. It was absolute shit. And so
it doesn't work in that system they created.
It doesn't. No, of course it doesn't, because it was just a shit way of playing. So why would you advocate for it to come back? It doesnesn't make sense, Ben. It doesn't. Okay, no. But it doesn't make sense because it's just
can I finish?
The system that they've got is so much tighter. Actually, we are running out of time. I have to go. Sorry, Ben. No, I have to get going pretty soon. I reckon we've got maybe 15 minutes. So if we need to move on,
we'll move on.
Yeah.
So the real reason why they removed the random number generation from most of the combat systems in Age of Wonders is because it's already really laborious and difficult to read the game because of the finite state, because of the inert state system. So then having to try to make calculations based on the random number generation on top of that, it makes the game it just makes it really intense.
Yeah, but they're improving it. Of course they're going to improve it.
I think that the issue is really that, okay, I understand your critique that, a more simulation-based game like Dominions has its own set of systems that are coherent, right? And my problem is with Age of Wonders is you have to understand the argument about the power fantasy thing too, because that was what ties it all together.
It's irrelevant.
They have reduced. No, it's not.
It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant.
It's the core of why they've done it. Because But
the reason why they do things doesn't matter if the gameplay is great.
Do you remember when they increased the hit points of all the units?
And I know why they did it, and it was to stop insta kills. And until you knew that they did it, it didn't affect you. It didn't affect the gameplay. I know that in your video you said it actually made the games exponentially longer. It didn't. The actual battles, no, it didn't.
It's take longer. They do take longer.
No, I was playing it. I was playing it for a couple of months without even realizing that they actually made the change. I just realized that the combat was more engaging. So for me, it made
because
I know why they did it.
Players were struggling. Yeah,
they did it so that it was there went. Hang on. They did it because they didn't want insta kills, and you said the same thing. They didn't just raise the hit points; they did other things as well. But they did it so that you couldn't get an insta kill. But they also then weakened other parts of units and things. They balanced it, and for me, it's a positive.
Around it.
But why is that a negative? Why is that a negative? It didn't make the games. It didn't make the. Hang on, Ben. Yeah, I've let you talk a lot. They didn't it didn't really extend the gameplay time of the battles. And you're saying it does. It didn't. What it did do is it just kept some of those early units safe for a turn. That's pretty much it. For me, it made it more tactical, it made it more balanced, and it made it a better game. But the way you presented it was like it made the games 3 or 4 times longer to play, and that's not true. That's not true at all.
I just think it makes the game, it reduces the lethality of combat in the game.
Well, it does, but in a balanced way. In a balanced way. It just means that a unit that would have been insta-killed is there for 2 turns.
Okay. It's the same reason why I just don't enjoy a fireball that when it lands on a unit, it does like 30% damage. It's just not very exciting. It's not exciting gameplay. And in order for you to really get to the really meaty gameplay of Age of Wonders 4, you've got to play for about 6 hours, because it's only really in the last part of the game that the decent spells come out. And
but they don't matter. It's more about the actual, it's about the balance as you go through the game. If you can actually end up with even the early game is really engaging because nobody has the big spells, so it for me it just structurally keeps on improving with combined arms. If you go in with just one type of, you can't just have a doom stack of one type of unit. You have to go in with combined arms to make it effective. You have to really think through the balance of your groups to actually have any chance of success in Age of Wonders. It's so much more tactical than what you think it is. So much more. It is so much more.
And it's a laborious game to play. That's why I get fatigued playing the game, because after a couple of battles where you have to spend 20 minutes just looking at all the units to see what they do, and then it's just, imagine, like, Eodor is a much better tactical combat system, and you can play it fast. Oh. But it's the same with Elementals.
It's fast, yeah. You can, and the Elemental's fast to play.
A lot more simple. Elemental's a lot simpler than
like Eodor.
Which is why I don't really. No, Eodor's not simpler than Age of Wonders. Eodor's just got a more elegant system. It's much more elegant.
Yeah, I think that's personal preference. I think that's personal preference.
It's not. It's you have to go and look up what the difference is between a reactive state system and an inert state system is. And I know it's a bit of a technical thing, but that will explain to you why these two systems are different and why the modern Age of Wonders games are really hard to read.
Actually, we're getting comments to try to sort of move on a bit. So I think that we might have to do this discussion another time to really...
No, we're finished, man. We're done. I think
we don't
think we're going to agree.
We've done tactical combats, but there's other things you were negative about with the game.
But that's the crux of the game. I think the strategic side is fine for the game that they've made.
One thing I will say, sorry, and I think this is the people who don't like Age of Wonders don't like long tactical battles. People who do like it enjoy long tactical battles, and so even though we've been talking about the nuance of different systems, I think at the crux, that's what it does come down to, is whether, and I prefer tactical combat to strategic play, personally, and I think that's a personal preference. I do appreciate games that can actually do the combat quickly. Age of Wonders is one of those games. If you're going to play the tactical combat, it's going to take time.
If it's going to take time, though, I want the game to play to be deep, not a solo system faking depth.
It is.
Because what it's about is gameplay density does. And if I've got to spend...
Hang on, you're using jargon. Ben, please don't use jargon. I don't know, I do this a lot, and I don't have a clue what you're talking about when you're talking about...
I explained gameplay density earlier, didn't I?
You did, yeah, but it's sort of like, it's just like, it's sort of, it doesn't... It's not tangible to argue a point when you're using jargon.
Okay, I won't use jargon then. It takes 3 or 4 times as long to get the same amount of analysis and fun out of the tactical combat there's in Age of Wonders as it does in a good game like Master of Magic or Eodor Genesis. So that time, it is a longer battle, but you're not getting more fun out of it. You're just doing more work for the same amount of payoff.
Again, I think we're just going to disagree. To be honest, so I think we just have to say we're going to agree to disagree. And we'll move on.
Okay, but hopefully that has been, at least people have got something to chew over, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
2 different opposing voices, and I think that's good, because I'm not saying I'm right. I think I am, but I'm not. I'm willing to be wrong, and I'm hoping you're willing to be wrong too. And I think if we have these opposing opinions, then people intelligent people, who are listening can take their own opinion away. Because I don't want people to go, I'm on Team Battle Mode, because who cares about that?
Yeah.
I don't care about being right. I want us to get to the bottom of the issue. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
That's the really important thing. Who cares who's right? It doesn't matter.
Well,
I'm trying to make the games better.
We should point out, Ben, we should point out that the discussion we're having now is typically the way that we talk when we talk about shit anyway.
I think some people they might get me go, oh no, they're falling out. It's like, like some kind of parasocial relationship. Don't worry, guys, Dad and Dad are okay. We talk like this all the time. Like, I'm an Englishman, he's an Aussie.
Yeah.
We don't have this thing where we have to be polite, in order to look good in society. We just talk straight, and that's how it is.
It's
actually
one of the.
I talk to you, Daz.
Yeah, one of the comments before actually. Can I just point out one of the comments before said it was like having being in a dysfunctional family where mum and dad are arguing all the time. Which I thought was really funny. Sorry, by the way, guys, we haven't been able to really get to the much to the comments while we've been doing this, but we knew it was going to be tight. We've already gone way over time.
Before we go, Daz, if we've got time.
Yeah, no, we've got time. Let's just Pax Nova. I don't know that one at all. Agree with your assessment of Master of Magic, so that one's fine. Let's just go back through D list now.
Good intro, or if you want to play Master of Magic and you can't bear the old UI or the old graphics, then go and play that one. It's fun to a point. Terrible DLC.
So which one? Sorry, the Master of Magic, was that? Sorry,
I was just saying, Master of Magic. It's a great game if you can't bear to play the original because you don't like the graphics or you don't like the user interface, and you want to get an experience of the original game. You can't go far wrong with it.
Yeah.
The problem is the AI is not very good, and the DLC was just weird. So,
yeah, I didn't mind the DLC. I like the DLC. I like the game as well. I enjoyed it. I prefer it more than the original now. But you get what you're coming from. Okay, for me, Terra Invicta, I would definitely have that as B at least. I don't play it much, but I do again appreciate what the game does. So I
want to like it. I'd love to like it, but
what about because they have changed it?
Gameplay density.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it much at all in the like for a long time actually since it first came out, and it was too hard to stream because it was just taking too long to get into space.
Yeah,
so
boring. It's a boring game.
Now, Solum Infernum, we've already spoken about Solum Infernum. I think this should be up around B or C, probably in around there. You've got it down in D.
Yeah, just the aesthetics is bad though. It's awful. It looks terrible.
I don't mind it.
Daz, go and look at Lilith, the character of Lilith, and you tell me what the hell that thing is supposed to be. Like, what is it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
But doesn't that look like the card in the original game? I think it does.
A little bit. I mean,
I think it's based. They're all based on the original game.
They are, but it doesn't. It looks like an Aardman animation. It looks like Shaun the Sheep. That's not my. That ruins the idea of this fantasy of being the Lord of Hell trying to win Satan's throne or whatever it is. Like, I don't want cartoon graphics for that game. It does not fit. It's stupid.
But it's
a bad move.
But they're trying to make it into a board game, like a board game feel, and I think they've achieved that. I think it's a really good game. I think it's in terms of a board game adaptation. Like it's not I know it's coming from a digital game, but it plays like a board game. And
I think the art director needs to be hung, drawn, and quartered.
I think it's a good game. I would rate that a B class game, and I look forward to playing it again fairly soon. Eodor Imperium. Again, I actually like this game. I like it.
I do as well. It's just broken.
Yeah, but it's not terribly broken. And so,
Daz, I watched this famous YouTuber, this old man from Australia called DasTactic or something, and he worked his way to the end of a 30-episode series of Eodor Imperium, and the game crashed on him at the end, and he was fuming so badly. He was like, "I'm never going to play this again." I'm pretty sure he said something like
"Oh, really?"
Yeah,
maybe. I don't remember. Okay, I don't remember.
It's broken. It's fundamentally broken.
Okay, that sounds it may or may not have happened, guys. Okay, Endless Space 2. Agree with you. This is where it deserves to be. It's a pretty shit game. It's not a shit game, but it just needs to be there. It
looks lovely.
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks great.
This one,
cool aesthetic, but
and Immortal Realms should have been better than what it was. I agree with you again. I think that should be where it is. I only got one more tier to do, guys, so let's just rattle through this one. So I'll go and turn these on, and then this is actually the ones that Ben actually had down as haven't played enough. So
I haven't played these games much yet.
Yeah, I've got some in here, so I'll just go through the ones. Sid Meier's Colonisation, I quite liked playing that back in the day. So I think that was a good enough game. The Star Wars Empire at War, I thought it was a really, really good game. So I think that's actually, that deserves to be played, and that's got some really good mods with it as well. Endless Legend 2 is, I think we've spoken about that one. We're both a bit meh about that one, and it'll be interesting to see what you think.
I don't know. I've got no opinion on it. That's my opinion. I've got no opinion. I haven't played it.
I've only played it once, and I didn't like it when I played it, but I didn't give it enough of a go. I wasn't fair enough. I wasn't fair with it, to be honest. So
I've heard bad things from people I respect. Say, pass. So.
Yeah.
But I want to try it for myself.
Yeah, I do too, and I want to give it a fair go. And I probably will have to play this one without live streaming it initially, just to get a feel for it, and then actually do a live stream. I find that a lot with games. I start live streaming something that I don't really know enough about, and then end up thinking, "Oh, this was a mistake."
Yeah, I've done it a few times too, man.
There's Endless Space, the original. That was again it looks great, but very, very shallow. Imperium Galactica 2 and Imperium Galactica. I did play those, but I don't remember them. They're fairly old.
I don't.
Humankind, I sort of bounced off as well. It didn't seem to do much for me. Last Federation.
I didn't like that at all.
Last Federation's actually, they should have a smiley face on it. That's a good game. That is again, it's just from the guys that did make AI War, and
yes,
and it's done very, very well. Like it's actually it's like it actually should be in your list actually where you do play it a bit. And I should have put a smiley face on that one. Millennia was just one of those games where it just basically. Like I knew it was going to be shit for me anyway, so I just didn't enjoy it.
You don't like historical forex, so
I don't like abstracted going through eras. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And they did that with that.
And Millennia focused on it, but they tried to do it in a way that made that more interesting. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a go, but it wasn't more interesting. It was still just the eras. Yeah. That's why I don't like Civ. I just bounce off Civ. Master Ryan 3 was absolute dog pile when it actually came out. So that was a big problem. Never played it at all? It's supposed to be good now.
I played it once. I didn't really get far with it. I bought it, had a look, and thought, well, if I need to at least play it and try and see what people see in it, because
people say it's really good. People say
it's really good.
Yeah, they say now it's actually worth playing. But when it first came out, it really wasn't. And so
Distant Worlds,
Oh, is it?
Kind of. It's got a lot of automated stuff in it.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. It's but apparently it's actually like even though I've put a dog turd on the actual on the game. That's from launch. The launch was terrible, and I haven't really played it since then. But people and there's probably people in the comments saying that it's worth playing now. It's apparently it's been fixed, and I think there's mods that actually also. I think the community got involved. Just go to the next tier because we are sort of actually we haven't gone over too much. Pandora First Contact, that was a pretty cool game. This is the precursor to Gladius, and very hard game to play, but definitely Gladius is by far the better game. But this one came before Gladius, and Gladius was certainly sort of built on the back of that. Planar Conquest, this is another one. I've put a dog turd on this one as well. This was really interesting, and I don't want to like. It was so buggy. If you haven't played it, this was essentially Master of Magic. This was a Master of Magic remake, where they really had a lot of focus on trying to sort of get it done right. But every time it's one of those things where it was coded. I think there was so much hard coding into it without classes. That's how I sort of equated it, where they would fix one thing and break 3 other things. And every time they fix something, 3 other things would break. And it just got worse and worse and worse over the course of its development. And so to the point where...
Do you think they were not a very experienced developer or something? Or do you,
possibly.
Or do you think... Yeah, maybe.
Although, to be honest, the developers had done other games and other good games. In fact, they were the same guys that did Eodor Imperium? I've got a funny feeling they may be the same people, actually. They may or may not be.
Russian developers made Eodor.
Yeah, and the same here as well. With Planet Conquest.
Okay.
So, Pegasus Expedition. I don't know. Just it didn't inspire me. I played it.
Me either.
Very, very short period. Space Empires 5.
It reminds me of a very late, kind of like an early to mid 90s classic space strategy game, but not a 4X. It's kind of it didn't simple game.
It didn't really gel with me at all, actually. But it's not a bad game. It just didn't gel with me.
No.
There's been a few games like that, I guess, where the immersion is just down a little bit. Space Empires 5, I used to play that a lot, actually. I didn't put a smiley face or anything on that one. I wouldn't play it now, but I did enjoy it back in the day. Sort of the Stars, great game. When it first came out, the sequel wasn't good, but the original was excellent.
That would have been a dog poo game, I think. So I never played it, but my mate Drexy said he was so excited about that game, and when it came out, he was fuming.
Yeah. The expectation was so high, and they couldn't have done worse with the sequel. But the actual original is a work of art. It really is a beautiful game. Songs of Silence, actually, like your take on that and my take on that, I think, are identical. A bit of a game that it's promised a lot, but then was just too simple for me.
It was like a cell phone game.
It just didn't do anything because I saw the graphics and thought, oh, good, incredibly detailed auto battle system where placement's going to be important. It's not important at all. Like, it doesn't matter where you place your units. So for me, that was just a bit of a meh type game. I know that they've improved it and done other things with it, but it still just didn't quite get to where it actually was. Ozymandias, really, really good game. This one's like a board game adaptation. That's worth playing. That is actually very, very good. And
I've got that. I've just not played it yet.
Star Traders, people rave about this, and I haven't played it. But it's again, this one's got very, very high recommendations to play that one through there.
Is that the Star Traders Frontiers or whatever? The actual RPG sort of Mountain Blade style game. That I've got that, and that's really good. But the actual 4X version, I've not played that one at all, and I don't know.
I think this is.
I don't know.
Is it the Triar brothers or
Treese Brothers?
Treese Brothers, yeah. They so I think they did this one, and I'm not sure about the other one you're describing, but it's by all accounts, a very, very good game. But I just haven't played it. Star Drive, I sort of always get this one confused with Star Ruler. They came out about the same time, and I have the same feeling about both of these. So it's sort of, I didn't really do much about that one. Stars, you can see there I've got like a big like stars in the eyes, smiley face. Stars was my favourite.
DasTactic look.
That was my favourite Space 4X for so long. It's so much. I enjoyed it so much that I actually completely skipped over Mu. It was out before Master of Orion. I had never had it.
I need to play it. Everyone I talk to does that has played that game speaks about it like it's this golden grail, the holy grail of Space 4X. But
it was in the 1990s. You wouldn't want to play it now.
But mechanically, apparently it's great, and people play it. Apparently, it's a really good multiplayer game.
It was even back then. Like when the internet first came out, I was playing that with some of my mates, that were living in Melbourne, and so we'd play multiplayer games of it, and it was actually it was a really good game. It's just a shame that he never got to build the second game that he was building. That all collapsed in a bit of a pile.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. Thea 2, I didn't really get into it. I think you for the same. No. Like, it just didn't really impress me that much. and Wizard Warfare 2 for me as well. I just never really got into it. I sort of thought I might, but I just never didn't do much with it, to be honest.
I don't like those Unity Store asset flip games, basically. That's what it kind of... I don't feel a bit bad because I'm sure the developer put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
But it's like that, DR4X and Wizards and Warlords, and there's a few others. They all use the same like Unity Store hex asset map. They've got the same like icon. Deity Empires is kind of similar. They use all the same kind of, you know, they've often got the same unit. Like things like spell icons and monster icons are all shared and I get it. Like, there's no excuse for it now because we've got AI. Unless you've got some problem with using AI assets, you can just make stuff unique stuff easily. If not, you're not willing to do that. That's fair enough. Then get an artist.
yeah.
Like I don't like the Unity Store asset stuff, man. I think it's lazy.
Yeah. Well, we do have to wind up. I'm already now running pretty late. But Ben,
I yelled at you. I
think we yelled at each other. Anyway, it was good fun. I really do enjoy.
Well, you know what? You absolutely deserved it, Daz.
That's I know.
You got everything that you deserved. Thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's really good fun. We'll have to do this again because it's I think we like with Age of Wonders, we just have to agree to disagree. Like for me, it's
I think so.
It's a masterpiece. For you, it's just a class C. I think is where you had it. But anyway,
I agree with you. I want to give you something. As you were talking about the complexity with the depth within the system that they've developed, which I've admitted before, but you make it every time you talk about it, you make it sound like something I want to play, and then I go back and play it, and I just don't see what you're seeing in it, and that's the issue. And I think that it's that. I want to enjoy it. Please, I don't dunk on Triumph because I've got any problem with them. I want them to succeed because I'm of the attitude, right, that if we can all raise the quality of the games and the genre, especially Fantasy 4X, it's got a real big place in my heart. Fantasy 4X has. So I really want it to be better. And if one game gets better, it raises the quality of all the others because everyone else wants to go, wow, look at that, look how good that is. And so I do it out of love. I don't take any pleasure in dunking on something just for the sake of it. I just want Triumph to make a game that I can play.
But I think it's also important that, like for people like you and I, that we actually do speak our mind too, and speak it strongly. Not because what we like. I think you're the same as me, where you feel that you've got more of a. You need to be more true to the audience than you are to anyone that you're actually that you're in the periphery around you, like in terms of game designers and so on and so forth. For me, I always feel
you and me, our reputation relies on being honest.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so that's why I'll criticize Stardock's games, and I'll criticize, I don't have a lot of criticism of Shadow Empire, but I'll be honest about the stuff that the flaws that it does have, even though I worked on those games or I've affiliated with them in some way.
I appreciate your honesty with that.
It would ruin my career to lie about stuff. Like, why would I do that? Stupid.
Yeah, and actually, it's sort of consequentially, you also then like changes the value that you are to Stardock as well, because if you're not being honestly critical about games, then the feedback that you give them as well. I know that they take your advice, very, very highly. So it's sort of.
I think like you, Brad. Like you, Daz. I think Brad particularly. I think he agrees with some of the stuff some of my opinions, and I think other times he's like, "No, you're dead wrong. You're an idiot."
Yeah, which is fair enough. That's
Brad's shot me down a few times. He'll be like, "No, you're wrong." Like, no, that's because. And I submit to him because it's to some extent.
So why didn't you submit to me when we were talking about Age of Wonders?
I've not made 50 games. Yeah.
Anyway, we do have to wind up, guys. So let's just call it to a close. Thanks for watching. We'll just say that there will be I will put all the links in. Probably be. I've got to race off to work now, but if so, we'll get that into the video. This will be a collaboration video with Battlemodes and myself. Also, if you do want to get the maps, I will eventually, and that'll be probably later on today, hopefully, put up both the list with the little emoticons on my coffee page, as well as and I'll put links in the description there as well if you're watching this on YouTube. But also I'll just turn off the emojis as well, so you've actually just got Ben's original list as well. So that's essentially the So you've at least sort of got them all there, and you've got to make sure you do look at Ben's discussion that he actually if you put the list together, it is very, very well thought out and very well articulated, because he had to do it 3 times. But it is
slow to catch on, man. It takes me a while to figure these things out.
But it is a very, very good video. So have a look at that one, and also I guess we just sign off. So look, thanks so much, Ben, for joining and coming in and. Thanks for
having me, man. I'm sorry if we shouted at each other. I think we're just both very passionate and
look, I don't care. I wasn't as aggressive with you as I normally am. I just I'm thinking,
you were very, very well behaved. I think it was me that really sort of like lost my rag a bit. But I think it's just when you're trying to make a point, you're like, autism kicks in. Like, no, I want to say what I've got to say.
I'll have to get a no.
I hope everyone enjoyed it.
I have to get a no jargon sign just for when you start talking jargon. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Ben, for coming in. Thanks, guys, for watching, and thanks for participating in the chat. Sorry we couldn't actually get too involved in the chat that was going on. I was looking at it as it was coming through. It was actually good to see the balance of the chat as well, to be honest, and certainly it wasn't one-sided. There was a lot of agreement in both directions, which is great. These are really good fun. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later, and thanks, Ben, again.